Fabulous atmosphere, and just as Mull finishes, it is Fulham who kick us off. They're playing in their white shirts, black shorts and white socks, and they're playing from right to left as we look at it. So Forest playing towards the Trent end in the first half, and there's a free kick straight away for Forest inside their own half for a robust challenge from behind by Joachim Andersen on Igor Jesus, and Forest will have a free kick. The Reds with Matt Sells in goal, back four of Ola Aina, Nikola Milenkovic, Murillo and Nico Williams. In midfield, Elliot Anderson and Ibrahim Sangare. And then in the forward positions, Nico Dominguez, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Morgan Gibbs-White in support of Igor Jesus. At the moment, Morgan Gibbs-White is very wide left, Callum Hudson-Odoi is very wide right. And here's Nico Dominguez, temporarily got away from Anthony Robinson across halfway, rolled it infield, Sangare picks it up as Robinson got back and defended against Dominguez's break pretty well, but now here's Elliot Anderson. Anderson up to halfway inside his own half and now turns it backwards for Nico Williams on the left. Forest attacking the Bridgeford end in this first half as Milenkovic rolls it away to the right for Ola Aina. He gives it to Hudson-Odoi, turns it back to Aina, and he gives it back to Milenkovic inside his own half. The Forest subs today are Morato, Taiwo Awoniyi, Dan Ndoye, Amari Hutchinson, Ryan Yates, James McAtee, Luca Netz, Dylan Bakwa and Angus Gunn. Here's Elliot Anderson, he's away on the left-hand side at the moment as well, midway inside his own half. Murillo down the line for Gibbs-White, gives it Anderson, he pings it forward but gets way too much on that. I think he tried to curl it with the outside of his boot but actually caught the laces and it flies out of play. Right, Nico Dominguez is in the number 10 role, Gibbs-White left, Hudson-Odoi right. That's the way Forest are shaping up. What do you make of that, Steve Hodge?
Yeah, a bit surprised. Obviously Gibbs-White not in place in the 10, but Dominguez probably is in there. I don't know to mock. And Sander Berger is a big giant of a man. He'll obviously try and rat him all day long if he can do and stop him playing. Gibbs-White left wing, which was a chance. Was it, try something different, why not?
Here's Hudson-Odoi cutting infield, and he gives it to Nico Williams, who's wide left and midway inside the Fulham half. Stabs it down the line to Gibbs-White, tucks it back again for Williams now for Hudson-Odoi, who's already gone across to that left and joined Gibbs-White over there. Here's Gibbs-White again for Hudson-Odoi again, 30 yards out. Anderson tucks it back for Murillo, who just stretches to keep it away from Jimenez, but then the ball down the inside left channel is straight through to Bernd Leno, the Fulham goalkeeper, who's bowled it out quickly for Anthony Robinson. 0-0 after 3 minutes. The talk in the early stages all about that Forest formation. Good challenge won by Sangare against Berger, but Igor Jesus dwells on it and it's nicked away from him by Berger, recovering, and then an apology from Jesus for not laying it off more quickly to Morgan Gibbs-White. The Fulham side, Bernd Leno in goal, Kenny Tete, Joachim Anderson, Calvin Bassey, Anthony Robinson the back four, Sander Berger, Alex Iwobi in the holding roles in midfield. And then Harry Wilson, Josh King and Oscar Bobb in support of Raul Jimenez up front. Having said that, Sander Berger really is the holding midfielder, and they're playing Josh King and Alex Iwobi a bit further forward in a similar way really to how Forest have started, with maybe Sangare the deeper of the two, with Anderson certainly when Forest have got the ball getting up more alongside Dominguez through the centre of the pitch. All very tactical in these formations in the early stages. Here is Calvin Bassey for Fulham, sending it wide left for the former Manchester City Norwegian, Oscar Bobb. Back it goes to Bassey, 15 yards inside the Forest half, and he turns it back to Joachim Anderson. Turns it away to the right-hand side, and Kenny Tete sends it back to Bernd Leno. Leno plays it out short. And now here's Anthony Robinson down the left, quickly closed down, and the ball as a result is a bit loose. Ola Aina retrieves, but then he loses out. Anderson gets the challenge in, that flies off to Bassey, who gives it to Sander Berger, who moves forward, the tall Norwegian, down the middle of the pitch and turns it wide right now for Wilson. Wilson down the line towards Iwobi, got too much on it I think. Out of play? No, says the assistant, but it was crossed into the arms of Matt Sells anyway, and he bowls it out to Elliot Anderson. Out wide left for Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White backwards for Murillo.
Looking at Hudson-Odoi there, actually clashed knees with Anthony Robinson, who's been limping back onto the pitch now. He's not right yet, but just saw him take to the bench there that his knee had caught Robinson's knee. But he's playing wide right. I think maybe there's a ploy there possibly that Robinson is obviously renowned for getting forward and wants to bump forward whenever he can. I think Calum's probably there just to keep him going the other way as much as he can do.
Here's Milenkovic sending it long, too long. Hudson-Odoi has no chance of chasing after that. Sore knee or not, he's still limping pretty heavily.
He's just saying he's got
again, just banging his fist into his palm just to say, yeah, it was just one of those clashes. And there's a bit on the inside of the knee, isn't there? It's a bit like the funny bone that really hurts if you catch it.
That was a real limp there from Hudson-Odoi, to be fair.
Yeah, he's struggling at the moment. Here's Murillo finding Williams. Williams has played it over the top high. Jesus chases after it down the left wing and forces Joachim Andersen to head out of play for a Forest throw, level with the edge of the penalty area. Hudson-Odoi quickly got on his bike when that ball was in the air and seemed okay. Still limping a bit now as the ball is dead. Out of play for a Forest throw. Left hand side, Williams is going to take. Throws into Andersen, gives it back to Nico Williams. Challenge comes in from Wilson. Two Welsh teammates together. Forest throw again, and here's Andersen facing halfway at the moment, goes backwards for Murillo, and Murillo gives it to Milenkovic just inside his own half. 6 played, 0-0. Forest have seen plenty of the ball in the first 6 minutes. This is over the top from Aina towards Hudson-Odoi. Not quite over the top though, because headed away by Anthony Robinson, who then feeds it infield towards Iwobi. Iwobi gives it to Berger, and Berger races in between two Forest players, but his ball forward is cut out by Murillo. Gives it now to Andersen. Andersen moves it left wing to Williams, level with the edge of the penalty area. Down the line again for Andersen. Andersen is snagged by Raul Jimenez, who's done some good chasing back and is able to clear to Wilson on the edge of his penalty area. Then Andersen lofts it forward. Aina shoulders that up in the air, and Murillo needs to get the challenge in. And back it goes into Forest territory for the Reds to collect. Murillo finds Williams. Williams infield to Gibbs-White. And Gibbs-White gives it to Milenkovic. Still halfway inside his own half. Aina down the right. This is Dominguez. Peeled away wide just at the moment. Gives it Ola Aina, but it's nicked away from him by Josh King. Down the left wing. Tucks it infield. Poor ball.
Pass.
Straight to Igor Jesus, who moves it quickly this time. Left-hand side for Andersen. Had to wait just for a second for it to come into his stride, but now Andersen outside left for Nico Williams. Williams away from Kenny Tete, hits the byline, pulls over the cross, blocked by Andersen. Now Fulham are appealing for something. I think they might have thought
it was
an offside.
An offside, actually a while ago I thought. I can't think who it was now, but I think about a minute ago there was a possible offside. The ball just went out of play recently.
Yeah, 2 or 3 Fulham players asking the question.
I think when Hudson-Odoi, there's the ball put over the top to the right wing, Hudson-Odoi, and Robinson got back ahead of the ball back into play. I think he's probably, I thought from where I was he's looked offside, but it wasn't given, so carry on.
Corner to Forest, 8 minutes in, 0-0 the score. This at the Bridgeford end. Elliot Anderson to take from the left wing. So a right-footed corner from Andersen. It's gone high and onto the roof of the net. Goal kick, and that's an all too familiar story. Not always Elliot Anderson, of course, but various number of set-piece takers this season.
We'll let him off for that one. First one with the wind probably as well.
It is windy out there, isn't it, today?
That's probably the reason why. So at least he's got his first sighter there.
Yeah, swirling wind as well. And as we mentioned earlier, more rain forecast. I don't think anywhere near the kind of volumes that we saw on Thursday night. That's a good layoff from Jesus, and well taken by Andersen. Bursts into the penalty area, away from Bassi, and then hooks his left foot shot well wide. Really good play between Jesus and then Andersen. Lovely touch from Jesus into Andersen's path, but high. Andersen took it, knocked it in front of himself, ran into the penalty area, turned Bassi inside out onto his left foot, and then the shot at the end of it let him down a bit as he drags it well wide of the near post and away for a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good chance from where he is. Good layoff from Jesus with his chest and the onrushing Anderson headed the ball straight by the defenders, got in the box, chopped inside onto his left foot, and then a really poor scuff with his left foot, and he just bobbled by the post already. But a decent chance, obviously on his wrong foot. The right foot more of a favourite, but that was just a poor effort eventually, and it probably sums us up at the moment. But good to see him get in that advanced area.
Yeah, I think fans will be encouraged by the start. Gibbs White hooks this forward first time, looking for Hudson-Odoi. It's nodded away from him, then Dominguez wins it but can't keep it in play, so it'll be a throw for Fulham 10-15 yards inside their own half. 0-0 to score, but it's been an encouraging 10 minutes in terms of some of the football that Forest have played. As Raul Jimenez nods this down back into his own half for Kenny Tete. And out wide to the right-hand side for Harry Wilson. Now here's Iwobi, and Iwobi turns it back for Joachim Anderson. Then Calvin Bassey, the Nigerian, lost out, or should have lost out on halfway. He's actually won 3 challenges and then won a free kick. That's unbelievable. How did Calvin Bassey get away with that? Because Igor Jesus nearly nicked it away from him. Then Elliot Anderson nearly nicked it away from him. Then Sangare challenged him. But still, Calvin Bassey continued to get away with it, and Sangare had to foul it.
Yeah, I mean, it's great determination. The first 2 guys tried to nick the ball off him. That's why he just followed through with his power, and the size of his physique is massive. That's why he got through. The third one, I thought actually Sangare might sort him out, but he didn't.
Long ball forward down Fulham's right-hand side, which Harry Wilson can't control. Forest throw, but back near their own corner flag.
They're saying that he is an absolute unit, Calvin Bassey. But so is Sangare. But it's one of them where as they come towards you as the midfield player, thinking I can nick it, but he follows through and he slides in and he gets lucky twice with the rebounds.
Bit of pinball on the far side of the field after the Forest throw. It's Fulham who bring it down back to halfway. Joachim Anderson, and he gives it to Bassey, and Bassey turns the ball all the way back to Bernd Leno, the German goalkeeper, formerly of Arsenal, Bayer Leverkusen before that, all in orange today. Diagonal ball from Joachim Anderson, pinged away to the left-hand side, and Oscar Bob is challenged by Ola Aina, goes out of play for a Fulham throw. Anthony Robinson waits to take it. The USA international, infield to Sanderberger, and he rolls it back into his own half for Calvin Bassey. 12.5 played. Iwobi for Bassey again. He left-footed chips it forward towards Raul Jimenez, who goes down making an awful lot of that after a challenge from Nikola Milenkovic. Jimenez is down clutching his face, or is it his shoulder, to be fair to him? It might be his kind of shoulder area.
I think he caught his neck. I mean, he's not meant to, just ease him out of the way, Milenkovic there. He has used his arm a little bit and he's caught him, and to be fair, it's just his shoulder, it's not his face at all, I don't think.
No, I don't think it didn't look from a replay. Looked as if Milenkovic
Milenkovic
has backed into him and his arm was out. It looked as if anything it might have caught him across his chest, but he's getting treatment now, is Raul Jimenez. And of course, where he is concerned, you always do have a worry about that awful, sickening head injury he got earlier in his career. But as I say, there was no contact near his head here. And if anything, it was shouldery neck area. That's where he seemed to be holding, but looked on the replay like it was chest. I'm surprised a free kick wasn't given against Milenkovic. I don't think anything more than that, but
when I first saw it, I just thought he'd eased him out of the way, and I did see his arm was a little bit high, but I just thought he'd used his arm. It wasn't when he swung his arm back and tried to do him, but I think he just caught him. I think it's a coming together again. Yes, the arm's a bit high, but yeah, they're both 6'3", these lads, and
yeah, straight arm as well, not an elbow.
As a defender,
the imagination. He's claiming elbow here, and it just wasn't.
No.
He's walking off really slowly.
Well, it probably felt like an elbow to him. He wouldn't even see it.
I think Nico Dominguez is trying to explain what area of Milenkovic made contact with Raul Jimenez. He is still, to the fourth official, claiming that it was an elbow, and it certainly wasn't that. Here's Dominguez as Forest get the drop ball, and we're underway again, and Jimenez is serving his 30 seconds off the field. Elliot Anderson on halfway, 0-0, 15 minutes played, match day from BBC Radio Nottingham. Dominguez is in possession on halfway for Forest and finds Ola Aina away to the right, tucks it back for Milenkovic, and he sweeps it into the centre circle for Anderson. Jimenez back on the field. Williams for Anderson. Anderson now for Gibbs White, trying to get on the turn, but he's quickly closed down by Josh King. And Forest have to move it back into their own half. Murillo now finds Milenkovic. And Aina to his right. Fulham on the press at the moment. Bob sends Aina back to the edge of his penalty area for Milenkovic.
Currently the midfield, in that midfield here, they're trying to just rotate and get Gibbs White popping in every now and again. Sangare is just sitting behind them all, holding the fort. And then they've gone long.
Milenkovic over the top towards Jesus, and the goalkeeper, with Hudson-Odoi also chasing after it, comes out of his penalty area and heads it straight to Anthony Robinson, who takes it away from danger for Fulham. Very good goalkeeping, very calm goalkeeping that from Bernd Leno. It's just from a Forest point of view, slightly overhit that long ball down the middle.
It's a corner.
As now Elliot Anderson is battling with Kenny Tete, and Tete actually kept the ball in play as Steve breathed the word corner. Might have been, but Tete obviously didn't think it was, because he stopped it, and then Anderson wins a throw off him deep inside his own half.
Yeah, just in the game a lot, like I say, just look at the formations and the rotations, and still when the balls are in the wide areas, there's just one man in the box still, and 5 white shirts. So we'll wait to see if that changes. I mean, obviously they can't go tilt up, I suppose, because there's no second strike. Well, obviously go 1 year possibly tilt top, but at the moment it's a quietish crowd. There's not a lot of action so far. We're playing some decent stuff, but so far both teams have not really fashioned anything that's been a chance apart from Anderson's shot.
Yeah, Anderson into the penalty area from Jesus' layoff, but his left foot shot poor in the end.
Now it's a yellow card all day long.
Late on Harry Wilson, and that is a yellow card for Nico Williams. Wilson looked as if he was about to nip past him. Williams dived in and caught his fellow Welshman, and that's going to be a free kick for Fulham halfway inside the Forest half. It stopped the quick break.
Yeah, I mean, even Murillo there, I think he's just gone too tight and tried to swivel him around. That for me is a free kick on its own. But the ball landed right in the path of Harry Wilson on the run, and he's in front of his Welsh teammate. That's why he's brought him down.
That is Nico Williams. He was booked, I think this is right, 4 times in about the first 7 Premier League games of the season. So he was walking the 5th yellow card tightrope right up until the 19th game where the suspension cut-off is, and right up to now. That's his 5th booking of the season. It's gone a long time between Premier League yellow cards. Free kick Fulham. Halfway inside the Forest half on the right. Iwobi takes. Free header, Calvin Bassey. Good save, Matt Sells, with his legs on the line. And then recovers to grab it as players pile in on top of him. He gets hold of it with his arms and makes a very good save, the Belgian. Way too much room for Calvin Bassey. Good delivery from Iwobi. And that's a free header for Bassey from the set piece. And from a Fulham point of view, he knows he should have given them the lead, but it's a fine save from the goalkeeper.
He's offside anyway.
Yeah, his shoulder might have been just offside, but it's a really good save.
It's a really good save, and like you say, Colin, it's very worrying when you see a centre half like that get a free header middle of the 6-yard box, and any other day that goes in, it's a goal.
It's a fine save. Even though it would probably have been ruled out for offside. Sells isn't, of course, to know that. Here come Fulham again until Milenkovic gets in a good challenge on the edge of the box on Oscar Bob. Now Hudson-Odoi in danger of losing it, but wins a throw, actually. Did well, he was surrounded by 3 white Fulham shirts. And the throw taken backwards to the edge of Forest penalty area, 19 minutes in. That's Fulham's best chance as the rain does come down now here at the City Ground, as forecast. Aina infield towards Anderson into Sangare. First time layoff from him to Dominguez. First time from him to his left for Murillo. Forward towards Gibbs White. Tucks it back to Murillo. Lays it infield to Dominguez. Nice passing from Forest as Dominguez goes across halfway. Now here's Gibbs White trying a big diagonal towards the right for Hudson-Odoi, who brings it down, controls it nicely, cuts infield across the Fulham half, 30 yards out, stabs it away to the left-hand side for Nico Dominguez, who wasn't expecting it, I don't think. It's a really good pass, and Hudson-Odoi puts his arms out to in the direction of Nico Dominguez, as if to say, what do you want?
Yeah.
In the end, it probably did just curl away from him, maybe a fraction too much. That's probably what Dominguez is saying. It was a great ball, great attempt.
Yeah, I mean, from the right wing, cut inside, went across the D area into his far side. You can just see a pathway through to, a narrow pathway to find Dominguez in a good position on the outside of his foot.
This is a mistake at the back by Fulham. Calvin Bassey just letting the ball.
Long throw.
Well, it's gone in behind him from Alex Iwobi, and it goes out of play for a throw, which Aina strides forward in front of the A block in the Peter Taylor stand to take. And Milenkovic goes and stands on the near post. Sangare just outside the 6-yard box.
Need to win the header on the near post. Someone needs to be there, obviously.
Here's Ola Aina in towards that near post, aimed at Milenkovic, but headed away by Anthony Robinson. He had one in front of him, one behind him did the big Serb. And the one in front of him, Robinson, headed it out for a corner to Forest.
All 11, all 10 outfield players, Fulham back in the penalty area. And more or less the whole Forest team, apart from Ola Aina, in the penalty area also, apart from the corner kick taker, Anderson.
Anderson down the right-hand side this time for this corner. So right-footed, out-swinging corner. 0-0 is the score. Towards the penalty spot, nodded down by Jesus. It's claiming corner, never was. It just kind of came beyond a crowd of white shirts, sort of hit Jesus more than anything else, and bounced harmlessly away for a goal kick to almost complete silence around the City ground.
Yeah, there's an air of like people are obviously fearful and worried and concerned and can't get behind the team really until they see something that's going to excite them at the moment and give them belief. But at the moment it's a dull game so far already in the final third.
Need a goal, don't they?
Yeah.
Forest, I mean, it goes without saying, Forest need a goal. Of course they do, given the current situation. The fans need to see a goal as well.
Yeah.
They just need that belief restored that Forest can score goals. Here's Kenny Tete down the right-hand side.
That's a bad touch.
Yeah, Murillo got across to it first. I think he might have been, I don't know if he's trying to control it or trying to avoid it, but he's touched it out of play for a throw to Fulham, level with the edge of the Forest penalty area. No much noise from the Fulham fans this afternoon so far either, halfway through the first half, but chants from them have come on Fulham. Kenny Tete gets the ball back from the throw. Now Iwobi, right hand side, poor ball in field, well read by Murillo. Now Anderson sprays out a ball to the right wing, but still inside his own half. Hudson-Odoi is up against Oscar Bob actually, who nicked it away from him, and then it's out of play for a Fulham throw.
Yeah, but unfortunately Hudson-Odoi, because the ball was pinged out to him, it went actually behind him and then gave him a real problem, because the young boy from Fulham, King, had sprinted back to get near to him and then eased him out the way, and then frustration of Hudson-Odoi just barged into him, and that's why the referee gave a throw in for Fulham.
Don't know if the wind held that up again.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
Swerving ball from Anderson across field, but looked like it was going to go in front of Hudson-Odoi, ended up behind him. So I don't know again if there was a...
I mean, the corner flags, to be fair, are not that strong at the moment.
No, that's true. Here is Joachim Anderson. 0-0 the score, 24 minutes played. Anderson out wide right for Fulham to Wilson. Good challenge this time by Williams. Ball skews back into Fulham half. Anderson back to goalkeeper Leno, who sweeps it away to the left for Bassey. Forest putting the press on. Bassey
needs to be tighter there, let him turn and play out.
Dominguez was able to...
That's where they get out like that.
Close enough. And then Iwobi finds Tete. And Tete up to halfway. His diagonal ball across field, cut out by Aina's header. And then Anderson rolls it forward towards Jesus. Hits him on the back of the heel. Vitor Pereira furious inside the technical area.
It's difficult. It's a slide rule pass, and he's looking to get just a yard in front of Jesus. He just didn't get it right, to be fair, but the idea was right.
Here's Wilson. Switching play out towards the Fulham right again. There was a touch from Hudson-Odoi, which took it away from one of the two Fulham players, and then Aina had to step in.
The wind certainly is having an effect on the passing. You can see that the player's a little bit unsure sometimes when the ball arrives at their feet, how it's going to arrive and what pace and what height.
It's gone out of play, hasn't it? Robinson took the throw, got the return from Bob, but just seemed to wait too long for it, and it got out. Just sort of backed away from it, and then suddenly the touchline was there. So Forest throw, Aina takes down the line. That's actually headed on by a Fulham head, and gives Forest another throw on halfway. Hudson-Odoi waits for Aina to come and take it. Just about bang on the halfway line into Sangare. Touch from Jesus is a good one, and then he turns away from he sort of turned into Calvin Bassey, and as he did so the ball went out of play. He was looking for a free kick off Bassey. I don't think it was. Throw into Fulham. 26 played, it remains 0-0 on BBC Radio Nottingham, the home of live Nottinghamshire sport. Forest in a crucial Premier League game against Fulham here at the City Ground. Goalless so far. Handball by Harry Wilson. And Sam Barrett, the referee, was 10 yards away from it and saw it. Had the lace in his pocket somewhere, Harry Wilson. Play go on. Here's Robinson. Throws it, rolls it down the line rather for King. And King now for Bob. Wide left, midway inside the Forest half. Gives it to King again. Josh King up against Ola Aina, turns, sends it backwards for Robinson. Anthony Robinson level with the edge of the Forest box, trying another slide rule pass through a crowd of red shirts this time. Oops. Anderson picks it up, played it across his own half, and Gibbs White turned it back to Murillo under pressure. And now Gibbs White has it again from Williams. He's centre field inside his own half. Gibbs White continues to run forward because he's not challenged yet. Now he gives it to Anderson, and he's challenged unfairly by Sander Berge. Gibbs White's looking frustrated that nobody was making a run for him, which is why he held on to it and kept holding on to it. Had his head up all the time. He was looking for the pass.
It seemed to be the pass was on a few times to Hudson-Odoi, but obviously from where he was on the pitch, you couldn't see him because of the white shirt in the way.
Here's Sangare, 10 yards inside his own half. 0-0 the score. Gives it to Milenkovic, just across halfway now for Anderson. A little bit tight again down this right-hand side. Back for Milenkovic, back to Anderson again. Anderson trying to turn away from Berge and sways away from him and chips it back into his own half. Now here's Murillo. Out to the left-hand side for Nico Williams. Williams for Sangare. Inside the centre circle, inside his own half. Crosses halfway with a little pass to Anderson, just to the right of the centre circle. Dominguez now backwards for Milenkovic. He switches it long out towards the left wing for Williams. And again, both he and Tete hesitate underneath it. And the pair do battle. And Tete it is who wins that battle. And now here's Wilson infield to Iwobi, and he gives it to Sander Berge as Fulham come away with it. Another long ball across field that nobody seemed sure where it was going to end up. Robinson, left wing, crosses across the edge of the Forest box, brought down by Williams, far post, or far side of the box, and he gives it to Murillo, and his clearance has gone straight to Kenny Tete. Gives it to Berge. Berge forward to Jimenez. Jimenez little back heel, finds some space for the cross to come in. It's headed away, not fully away, but Jesus might get there. Doesn't, because Kenny Tete slid in. And now you can hear some unrest from the Forest fans because they want Forest to be winning these challenges. As Bassey turns it back into the centre circle for Anderson, and back for Bassey again. 20 yards now inside his own half. And gives it to the Dane Joachim Andersen once again. He strides forward up towards halfway, drops it forward towards Bob. Bob turns it backwards for Anderson, and a long switch of play from left to right for him. Williams underneath it to head it away before it reaches Wilson. Now here's Gibbs White. He rolls it infield across halfway. This is Dominguez. Dominguez forward to Hudson-Odoi. He's found some space. Hudson-Odoi, middle of the Fulham half. Rolls it right-hand side. Here's Anderson in a right-wing position. Down the inside right channel for Hudson-Odoi. Nicks in front of Oscar Bob. And now gives it back out to Anderson, wide right. Now Hudson-Odoi, infield to Sangare, 30 yards out. Gives it back out wide right for Hudson-Odoi. There's the right foot curling cross aimed at Gibbs-White. Tete has headed it into Gibbs-White and out of play for a goal kick. And again, as soon as the Forest move breaks down, it's just silent around the place.
Yeah, but you know, I think we kind of expect that a little bit at the moment, because the last 4 or 5 games we've seen nothing to really believe in terms of scoring a goal. So it's just a flat time now. Everyone's just really very fearful. Yeah,
fearful, nervy, edgy, tense. Well won by Anderson against Berger. Through the middle of the Fulham half he goes, and he's hacked down from behind, and that's a yellow card. There were about 3 converging on him. I think was it Berger who got back at him, having lost it in the first place, and absolutely dragged him down. Referee Sam Barrett has got Joachim Andersen in his face at the moment. I don't know if he's just waiting for VAR to maybe confirm it's just yellow at this stage. He just pointed to his ear. He's gone across to check that Elliot Anderson's okay, or maybe he's waiting for VAR to tell him which player it was.
Definitely
it was Berger who gets the yellow. I think that's what the delay was for, actually. I think they were just waiting to see
they are both
which one it was.
6'3".
6 foot, yeah, 6 foot plus blonde.
Yeah,
Scandinavians. One with 5 on his back, one with 16. And he and Tete both converged. And it was definitely Berger that pulled him back. Then Anderson slid in with the challenge, while Tete did as well. And it has given Forest this free kick, which is about 6 yards outside the penalty area and just to the left of centre. So it's the classic 25-yarder, really, this.
It is. Yep.
Murillo, Gibbs-White, Nico Williams standing over it.
It's Gibbs-White.
It is 25 as well, because they've gone back another yard. So it's almost exactly.
I mean, it is a big wall, I have to say that.
Yep, 6 men in the wall, plus a draft excluder, and it's tall as well.
To either Murillo goes round the outside of the wall, or Gibbs-White goes over the wall. I mean, the wind might help here if it's Murillo on that side.
3 still standing over the ball. The referee's blown his whistle. I don't know what we're waiting for now. It's rolled short for Gibbs-White to hit through the wall, actually low down but straight at Bernd Leno, and a comfortable save.
And a break.
And now they break down the left-hand side. Anthony Robinson from Bernd Leno's swift bowl out, and the cross gets Anderson to make the challenge, and it'll be a throw for Fulham, which is 25 yards out. Effort on target for Forest from Gibbs-White's free kick. It remains 0-0 after 33 minutes, and a comfortable save for Bernd Leno. Here's Bassi forward into the Forest half, won by Sangare, lays it backwards for Aina, and now here's Anderson looking to switch it to the left hand side for Williams, but holds his hand up in apology because he knows he didn't get enough on that, and Fulham cut it out. And now here's Iwobi on halfway, turning it backwards for Kenny Tete, just to the right of the centre circle. This is Berger, switch of play from him out wide left. This is Robinson, controls, faced by Callum Hudson-Odoi, trying to go on the outside. Hudson-Odoi gets the challenge in. It's good work from Callum Hudson-Odoi, who then bangs it clear away into Fulham territory.
That is a good battle, those two, actually, because they both obviously want to attack each other. Hudson-Odoi, they're getting back and doing his job really well.
Remains 0-0. Start of a busy week on BBC Radio Nottingham in terms of sports coverage, as Dominguez gets a challenge in. That'll be a Fulham throw just inside the Forest half. Tomorrow night in the game from 6, reviews all the weekend action across the sports. Tuesday night from 7, Notts County and Mansfield both in action. So match night with you from 7 o'clock after in the game. As I'm Jesus.
That's a yellow card.
Loses out, and then
careful.
Einar flies in the challenge against Josh King, who's looking around waiting for the referee to get a card out. He didn't. And a free kick for Fulham 10 yards inside their own half. Yes, so not to Mansfield on Tuesday night from 7 o'clock. Wednesday night from 6. There is in the game our full preview of the second leg of the Europa League tie between Midtjylland and Forest from Denmark, from the town of Herning. It's on Wednesday night, and then the game itself is on Thursday from 4 o'clock. Full commentary from Denmark. Here's Gibbs White down the left-hand side, faced by two. He's level with the edge of the penalty area. He turns nicely away from them, but then got a little bit too much as he turned too much on the ball. Took him back towards halfway, where he now feeds it to Murillo. Murillo's little ball in field to Sangare, who made the angle for him. Sangare for Dominguez.
Look at the back line now, Colin, at the moment. There's 5 white shirts and Jesus on his own up top. In midfield play, all you see is white in front of you.
Yeah, Forest have to go back. Sells long down the left-hand side, looking for Gibbs White. He's let that run over his head, and then has done a good job to keep it in play. And then back heels down the line for Nico Williams. Did a good job on Kenny Tete, and now here's the low shot from Dominguez, which forces a save out of Bernd Leno, diving away low to his right. On target from Dominguez. That's good from Forest, much more like it. Really good from Morgan Gibbs White. Kenny Tete, I don't think, thought he had a prayer of keeping that in, but Gibbs White did so. Williams on the overlap, pulled back. Dominguez with the shot from the edge of the box, and the goalkeeper making the save down low by his post. Yeah,
decent play from Forest. I'd say Gibbs White there with brilliant feet, as we expect really with him, and a good pullback from Nico Williams. The shot on target, but it wasn't beating the German goalkeeper with that pace on it, but a decent move.
Here come Fulham. Anthony Robinson finding Harry Wilson in the centre of the Forest half. Turns it to his right. This is Iwobi. High cross. Going to be kept in play though by Bob. And now here's Raul Jimenez, forced outside the penalty area by Einar, who wins a really good challenge and clears towards Jesus, who holds it up, then helps it on towards Hudson-Odoi, but Joachim Andersen was covering and sweeps it back to his goalkeeper. It remains 0-0, 37 minutes in.
I just think it's nervy intense now, Colin. Wait till about 65-70 minutes, it's still 0-0. So far I think the other scores are the same, so nothing lost so far.
0-0 here. And with the other games in the Premier League today, still goalless. The 2 o'clock kickoffs: Crystal Palace Leeds, Manchester United Villa, Liverpool Spurs is at 4:30. Here's Anthony Robinson down the left-hand side for Fulham again. Wilson finding space, edge of the box. Oh, his shot was going miles wide. Murillo got his head in the way anyway. Bounces up in the air, and Matt Sells stops it going for a corner, and then bowls it out short to Williams. Now here's Gibbs White. He's got Kenny Tete all over him. Oh, free kick given. And then Tete goes down holding his face. Gibbs White's trying to pick him back up quickly. Tete says he doesn't want that. Free kick's going Forest way.
Yeah, I mean, Tete's doing the right thing. He's forcing Gibbs White back. He won't let him turn whatsoever. He probably caught maybe, I don't know, not an elbow, but an arm maybe, or a finger, and went down in a heap. But, you know, we saw it the other night. As the away team, that's what they're going to do now and again. And the fans, as you expect, are not impressed.
I mean, there's absolutely nothing in that. Nothing in that whatsoever. That's just entirely faked by Kenny Tete. Presumably in a bid to try and get Gibbs White a yellow card or something. I mean, it's incredible. Here's Berger for Fulham. Up towards halfway. 39 played, 0-0 on BBC Radio Nottingham's match day. Here's Wilson now, wide right, taking on Nico Williams. Pulls the cross back to the edge of the box. Dominguez gets a touch. It's bouncing over the head of Tete. Holds off the challenge of Gibbs White. And now here's Berger for Tete again. For Berger once more. Berger rolls it square for Calvin Bassey. Bassey now for Robinson, into the feet of Josh King, trying to turn against Milenkovic, and gets his left foot cross all wrong, slices it out of play and over the bar. and it's a goal kick for Forest, and there are 5 minutes to go until half-time, and it remains, Steve Hodge, 0-0.
Yeah, and a game lacking quality in the final third from both teams, apart from the one chance for Anderson and the kind of would have been disallowed header from Calvin Bassey from a free kick. That really has been it in terms of creation from both teams, really. So yeah, no wonder the crowd are a bit quiet from both ends of the stadium there, where the Fulham fans are. They're a bit quiet as well. Obviously the Forest fans to see their team pushing a bit more and having more of a threat on goal. Here's a Fulham though.
Sangare's been nutmegged by Oscar Bob. He was sold a short pass in the first place by Milenkovic, was Sangare. Back gets Ina and wins a good challenge. And now Milenkovic to Anderson, gives it back to Milenkovic. Switches play across his own half, but it's a good ball to Nico Williams. Williams, a little 10-yard pass outside into Gibbs-White, and he rolls it back to the edge of his own D for Milenkovic, who leaves it now for Elliot Anderson. Forward to Gibbs-White, just shy of the halfway line, left-hand side. Gibbs-White turns, rolls it square again for Anderson. Anderson out to the right-hand side for Ola Aina. Gives it back to Anderson, little cushion ball into Hudson-Odoi. Rolls it backwards for Milenkovic, then Hudson-Odoi again. Hudson-Odoi into Anderson. Now Hudson-Odoi for Murillo. As Forest go left-hand side. Forward to Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White square for Anderson. Crowd of white shirts were converging on him. Dished it backwards for Milenkovic. Now here's Aina. Wide right, midway inside the Fulham half. Little clever trick to get away from Bob and runs across Fulham territory. Gives it to Murillo. Murillo's got Williams outside him. In fact, uses Gibbs-White instead, just ahead of him. Comes back to the Brazilian. Now Gibbs-White again, 15 yards into Fulham territory. Rolls it across to the edge of the centre circle for Milenkovic. Milenkovic under pressure. He's going to have to go all the way back again to Sells. And Sells plays it out to the right-hand side for Milenkovic. Under pressure from Josh King, sways away from him, gives it Dominguez. Now Anderson into Gibbs-White's feet. Gibbs-White miscontrolled in the first instance, still managed to turn and give it to Williams. Williams pass over the top, left-hand side, way too much on it, and out of play for a goal kick. Lots of possession, lots of passing. Nothing much to show for it at the end.
No, it's been very lacklustre in the final third. I mean, sometimes you bop the ball around on the halfway line, back to the centre halves and go left and right. And sometimes people can get turned and they don't seem to have the awareness to get turned and drive forward. But a lot of safe passes from Forest today, very safe, or longer ones have gone. Maybe it's the wind, I don't know, but long ones have gone way too much.
There's Aina sending this ball back towards Sells. Sells clears for a chest down from Gibbs-White inside the centre circle. He's fouled by Tete. A few yards inside his own half, Gibbs-White.
Still don't like him out there on the left-hand side. Just not the same player.
As the game's going on, he seems to be coming a bit more central as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he wants to
get more involved in it. He's pinged one through the inside left channel here for Jesus, and it's knocked away from him by Joachim Anderson. And it goes out for a corner to Forest. Good ball that from Gibbs-White. Real tester for Anderson with Jesus breathing down his neck. Tried to clear, I think, for a throw, but ended up going out for a corner, which Anderson goes across to take. A minute and a half to go of the 45.
Fulham very zonal. 7-8 white shirts in the 6-yard box. And for us, gone short. I don't mind that for a change.
Out to Williams. Williams hits the shot from outside the penalty area. Rising over via a deflection. Oscar Bob it was who closed him down. And it is going to be another Forest corner, this time from the near side to us, the right. So Anderson's got to walk and then trot all the way from one touchline to the other. As Forest varied it from the corner this time. And let's see what they do from this one, which will be an outswinger from Elliot Anderson. Last minute now of the first half, 0-0. Anderson to take. Right-footed, outswinging and headed away by Anderson. Comes out for Murillo to volley, and that was straight into the back of Josh King, and the rebound takes it all the way back just into Forest territory, where Aina gets to it first and turns it back to Sells. Sells with a long ball forward. Milenkovic is still forward.
To keep going. He's
over
there.
His head. Yeah, now he's going to go and put the challenge in on Robinson, and then Leno, who chips it over his head. Robinson volleys it away, helped on by Wilson. Forest get it back in the end. This is Nico Williams down the right-hand side, away from Wilson, faced by Robinson. Gives it down the line towards Dominguez, who tried to turn it for a corner off Calvin Bassey, but didn't make any contact. And actually, Bassey has stayed down injured after that slide from Dominguez to try and play it off him. It is going to be a goal kick. We're going to play 3 minutes of added time at the end of the first half, and it remains 0-0, and Nico Williams and Ola Aina have switched sides.
What, bang on half time?
And it's a goal kick, so you would think they would have time to swap.
Plenty of time.
So that's a definite switch, isn't it, rather than just a positional happening during the game?
It appears that way. No one's taking corners early. I mean, Tefeta Williams came over this side of the pitch, on the edge of the box.
Took on Wilson down the right-hand side, didn't he? Here's Gibbs-White down the left, linking up beautifully with Jesus. 2 1-2s between them. Then Gibbs-White tries to cut it back away from Tete, who does get the challenge in, but then Iwobi puts it straight out of play. Aina to take the throw, left-hand side. Short one back to Elliot Anderson. Oh, that's a poor ball. He was looking for Milenkovic, but he's undersold it. And now this is Josh King running forward. 5 getting back, including Anderson, who then fouls him and gets a yellow card. And it's a free kick to Fulham at the end of all of that. 25-26 yards out, dead centre.
Well, only he'll know if he caught him or not. Obviously his pass was a bad pass in the first place. He's careered back 30-40 yards and done well to get back. A proper sprint. And in the meantime, King's got to the edge of the box, ducked inside and onto his right side, and then a little flick again. I mean, maybe he's caught him, I don't know, and only he would know that, but referee was certain what he'd seen, and that's a real problem with Harry Wilson on the ball.
Yep, stoppage time at the end of the first half has been a problem for Forest in the past this season, where they look as if they might get through to half time with no damage, and then they're undone in added time. And Fulham have the opportunity to do that here at the City Ground from this free kick. Harry Wilson, Raul Jimenez stand over it. It is about 8 yards outside the penalty area. And it's going to be Wilson or Jimenez. Wilson left foot, Jimenez right foot. It is Wilson who moves first, hits it straight into the wall and cannons away for a corner to Fulham. As we tick towards the 3 minutes of added time.
Yeah, I mean, they're taking the time here. He's absolutely ambling to the far side, as you would expect, bang on half time. They'll put ball in the box and they'll try and get lucky on that, but if that results in nothing, it should be the end of the half from their point of view.
I mean, to be honest, if you're the referee and he wants to take this long over the corner and walking to take it, you might as well blow the whistle now, mightn't you? Here he is, Wilson, to take the right wing corner with the left foot. Near post. Oh, that's gone far post actually, and it's just headed beyond the far post. There's a crowd of bodies in the goal. And one of them is Matt Sells, who will therefore claim he was fouled. But any argument, as the ball fizzed wide anywhere, think off the head of Joachim Andersen, any argument or anger is taken out of Matt Sells by the half-time whistle. I mean, Sells was held in the first place by Berger and then bundled into by a crowd of bodies and shoved into the back of the net as the header went wide of the post. Good delivery from Wilson from the corner. But the half ends 0-0. It's a smattering of applause as Forest leave the field at half-time. 0-0. Another frustrating half, lots of possession, not many clear-cut opportunities. You'd probably say no clear-cut opportunities. A couple of shots from outside the penalty area which have been comfortable for the goalkeeper, either straight at him or a comfortable save diving away to his right. And probably the best chance for Forest coming after 10 minutes. Good layoff from Jesus and a header from Anderson in front of himself to charge into the penalty area, turned Bassey onto his left foot and then dragged that left foot shot well wide of the near post and wide of the target and out for a goal kick. Bassey had a free header from an Iwobi free kick for Fulham after 18 minutes. Replay showed he might have been offside, but it was a very good save from Matt Sells. Otherwise, Fulham have offered very, very little, and Forest have been more of the same, really. Not been able to fashion anything really clinical inside the final third. So perhaps no surprise then, Steve Hodge, that at the break it's 0-0.
Yeah, probably no surprise. It has been really a dull game to watch. I mean, obviously you do get them now and again, and I assume obviously Fulham will be happy with the draw anyway. They're safe in the league. Probably need a bit more from us, or a lot more from us. And the guy down below me now getting changed now, or getting warmed up, I would have on at half time Murray Hutchinson. I'd certainly have Hudson-Odoi back on the left wing and Gibbs White in the 10. I'll just go back to that more comfortable scenario, because I don't think Gibbs White, you get enough out of him on the wing anyway. He's obviously got his quick feet and he can deliver a ball in the box, but no, I want him in the box. I want him in the number 10, gambling in the box like at Man City when he scored. They're trying something different. I don't think it's worked personally. The back four have been pretty comfortable. Fulham, have offered the odd little bit of a threat now and again, and when they get a corner like still at the end there, that can be a real problem, because Wilson's delivery in the box with his left foot is sweet. But all in all, a pretty drab first half, but there's nothing on it for Fulham really. For us, it's a bit desperate. It is desperate today, so need to see a lot more in the final third, again in the second half. And for me, get Hutchinson on the pitch and let him have a go at the full back as well, because we have to go and win the game. There's no point in not bringing these players on who've got flair and ability, to go and win games when we get to 70 minutes or 75 minutes and it gets a bit desperate. And for all we know by then, they've got players who can score a goal, so we've got to get the first goal today. We're desperate for it, Colin. It's got to happen.
The fans need it, don't they, as well?
We all need it. We've been to enough games recently and just waited, and it's got to the point now where people are a little bit like thinking, well, it's never going to happen. And they don't actually, the fans, I don't think, believe they could score a goal because of what's happened in the last 4 or 5 games. And you have to say that first half there, Bernd Leno's, not had a real issue to make in the first half, and we have to do better than that.
And we'll see if they can in the second. Thank you to Steve Hodge. At the break then, in a must-win day really for Forest in terms of the Premier League this season. It's been a fairly anonymous kind of first half. Forest 0, Fulham 0.
Colin Fray and Steve Hodge, your commentary team on BBC Radio. Nottingham 0-0 in the other games in the Premier League as well, but Leeds have just had Gabriel Goodmanson sent off 5 minutes into stoppage time at Crystal Palace for a second yellow, about 5 minutes after Dominic Calvert-Lewin missed a penalty for Leeds. So second half, Leeds will be down to 10 men, having missed a penalty. 0-0 as well between Manchester United and Villa. Liverpool Spurs later, of course. It's match day. It's BBC Radio Nottingham. David Jackson here at 8 minutes to 3.
Open the door to a collection of true crime podcasts.
News is coming in of a kidnapping in the Shropshire village of Highley. The police have found a ransom demand.
And secrets lie uncomfortably close to home.
To my wife, I would say to her, just make sure that you lock the doors at night.
Stories where the next danger could be just up your street.
Where did he go? Like, where on earth could he have gone?
Crime Next Door. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Match day.
BBC Radio Nottingham.
Locally, yesterday, mixed fortunes for our local clubs. Mansfield, they've had a good week, haven't they? Good performance against Arsenal in the FA Cup last weekend. Narrow defeat, but they got their moment. They got their goal, didn't they, for Will Evans? And then since then, they've needed some points after a long run without a win in League One, but they got them this week. Couple of home games. They beat Reading on Tuesday night. And then yesterday, a home game against Barnsley. Now, against Barnsley on Boxing Day, they went 2-0 down and came back to win 3-2. Again, against Barnsley this weekend, they went 2-0 down. Again, they came back, this time to draw 2-2. Stephen McLaughlin, the man, getting a 94th minute equaliser for a share of the spoils at the one call.
as they try and work a ball up to the edge of the penalty area. Out to McGoldrick, a shot from distance and in. And McGoldrick gets his 17th of the season with a right foot rasper from 25 yards along the ground and in off the upright, with Roberts beaten from long range. In the 19th minute, it's Stags 0, Barnsley 1. Drops for Blake Tracy, kicks it away to off Yoganathan's shins. It's worked to this near side, and here come Barnes with a shot, and it's in. And Banks has hit one straight through the arms of Liam Roberts. He put his arms up high, Liam Roberts, and the ball went straight between them and into the net. And Barnsley celebrate in front of their fans in the north stand. Throw into the penalty area. There's Blake Tracy, and Stags have got a penalty. Nathan Moran Welsh has come on the pitch, and he's challenged for a ball in the penalty area, and he has been taken out. And it'll be a right-footed penalty to be taken by Lewis Aiken. Steps up now, and beautiful penalty. Hit it to the left. Keeper went the right way, couldn't get anywhere near it. Lovely spot kick from Lucas Aikins. Hewitt from the left-hand side. In comes the throw. Up goes a couple of defenders. Out there, and shot in! And Stags have scored! Mansfield Town, through Stephen McLaughlin, have snatched a point. So dramatic at the One Call Stadium. McLaughlin, who did the same to make it 2-2 at Oakwell, has done it mid-March to grab a precious equaliser for Mansfield Town. It's Stags 2, Barnsley 2.
Once you get the first one back, we had a little change of formation, everything, and then for 20 minutes, half an hour, second half, it was all us just, you just got to be careful of the break. It was all us sort of battering them, and I thought we had 2 or 3 good chances in there. Nothing quite dropped for us in the 6-yard box until the 94th minute.
Nigel Clough, the Mansfield Town manager, 94th minute equaliser to earn a point. So 4 points from those 2 games. Mansfield 15th in League One. For Notts County, just outside the top 3 still. They're 4 points outside now after another win yesterday for Cambridge and MK Dons as well. So they're on a 64 points. Cambridge 68, MK Dons 71, and the League 2 leaders Bromley on 73. An eventful afternoon for them, but not in their favour. 5 goals, they lost 3-2, and a red card. Ollie Norburn sent off fairly early. Notts beaten then by Chesterfield, missing out on that chance to close in on the top 3 in League 2.
Out to this near side to Pearce, who can put it back to Dobra. Palmer's back there, it's bouncing around. Dobra shoots and scores, and Chesterfield have the lead. After a quarter of an hour, it had to be him, didn't it? Armando Dobra. Here come Chesterfield with Dobra, edge of the penalty area. Norburn gets a foot in. Dobra's boots come off, but no foul given. And Norburn's then picked up Dobra's boot and thrown it off the pitch. You've got to be a little bit careful of things like that having been booked, says Ollie Norburn. There's Nick Cerula, and Norburn's going to be off.
Ollie Norburn is off. Oh my word.
The referee has seen the fact that he's chucked Dobra's boot off the pitch, and Norburn, inside the opening 20 minutes of this one, has been sent off for 2 yellow cards. Great layoff from Tangen to your Pender, rolls it out to Jones. Jones pulls it back square. Oh, it's in! Have a leveller! Matty Dennis has slid into the back post, or was it maybe actually an own goal back there? It doesn't matter, because Notts have certainly scored. Back into the middle. We're arriving with a header in. Is Tom Naylor, the captain, who scored at Meadow Lane for 2 years in a row. He's booted the ball away. He'll get booked for his celebration. I don't think he's too bothered about that. The man born in Kirkby in Ashfield has put Chesterfield back into the lead again. Running at his full-back is Jody Jones. Left corner of the penalty area. Still going. Jones gets the ball in to the back post. Oh, it's off the line. It's in! Oh! And it's Massey Platt back there at the back post. And the central defender's got a goal for the first time this season. And Notts are instantly level. In comes the ball towards Mandeville at the back post, and it's in. He beats the offside trap with a stooping header at the back stick. He got the wrong side of Beddoe. It's a good header from Liam Mandeville in at the angle to Belshaw's top left corner. And for the 3rd time today, 20 minutes into the second half, Chesterfield lead by 3-2.
10 games left. I'm really pleased that we showed, even with the sending off, that we can hurt teams if we be a little bit more aggressive and go for it. The boys worked. I can't ask any more of my players today. This is not a day where I come out and moody-woody. We lost. I'm not happy with that. I'll own it. I'll prepare the team for Tuesday at Accrington away, where we will get a response, and ultimately put it down to the fact that this is football. It's not easy. It's not going to be given to you, and it certainly isn't being given to us.
Yeah, Notts at Accrington Tuesday night. You'll hear it, of course, on BBC Radio Nottingham in match night from 7 o'clock on Tuesday evening. Mansfield in League One away at Bradford on Tuesday night. Then there's Europa League football later in the week on Thursday night. Forest away at Midtjylland in the second leg of that Europa League last 16 tie. Forest going there 1 down. So we'll bring you a special programme on Wednesday evening 6 till 7 live from Herning, and then on Thursday evening we'll be with you from 4 with the game kicking off at 5:45 UK time. In the Premier League, Arsenal currently 9 points clear at the top of the table after yesterday's results. They earned a dramatic 2-0 win at home to Everton, and it was dramatic as well. 16-year-old Max Dowman becoming the youngest goal scorer in Premier League history as Arsenal netted twice in the final 8 minutes.
Oh, this is going to be trouble. Dowman on the counter-attack. He's going to run it in. He can savour these moments. He can enjoy it. His first ever Arsenal goal wins the game for sure. As Arsenal say to Manchester City, catch us if you can. It's Arsenal 2, Everton 0. It's all over now.
An incredible talent, but I think what sets him apart is his personality and the way he handles the context, the pressure, the situation. It's not normal.
That is Mikel Arteta talking about young Max Dowman, who got Arsenal's second deep into stoppage time. So they are 9 points clear now of Manchester City, who were held to a 1-1 draw away at West Ham last night. City manager Pep Guardiola, after seeing that and of course the draw with Forest the previous week, admits his side just aren't securing victories like they used to.
In the past, this type of games, always you find a way to win it. Don't explain me why, but it was for the way we play. And this season, for the fact that we didn't score goals, that the amount of chances we create, we punish us.
That's Pep Guardiola. A big point that for West Ham and their boss Nuno Espirito Santo.
I think we should be proud of the players, of the fans. I think they suffer alongside us. They understand how hard it is to play against City, and we were heroic. The players were heroic. The way they defended, the way they put their bodies on the line, giving everything till the end was good.
That's Nuno. So that took West Ham out of the Premier League relegation zone as it stands. This point here for Forest with the score at 0-0 will be enough to get them back out. Should they get all three, they'll also go above Spurs unless they somehow get something away at Liverpool today. Spurs have lost their last 5 league matches, 4 of them under newly appointed boss Igor Tudor, and at the moment just 1 point clear of the relegation places going into today's games with 9 matches to go. Tudor says his side are in charge of their own destiny.
Life is about what is enough for you. You choose that. So football is also part of the life. So how you will see the situation, you choose.
As for Liverpool, defending champions, 6th in the table heading into that game against Spurs. Liverpool boss Arne Slot insisting the fans' expectations aren't putting too much pressure on his team.
Expectations are always sky high at this club, and that's what we are embracing, because that also means that this club is able to win things, and that's what we've done in the past few years.
So Liverpool against Spurs will kick off at 4:30 here on Match Day from BBC Radio Nottingham. David Jackson here. Dan Ndoye is warming up on the edge of the pitch with his teammates, as is now Amari Hutchinson, who's come to join them. So a couple of changes on the way for Forest with a score at 0-0 here against Fulham. Available for you on BBC Sounds, on your smart speaker, on 103.8, 95.5 FM and digital radio. The Fulham players are now joining them out on the pitch, so we can join your commentary team. Steve Hodge and first Colin Frey.
Yes, 2 early changes again then made by Vitor Pereira, the Forest head coach. Nico Dominguez replaced by Dan Ndoye, and Callum Hudson-Odoi goes off for Amari Hutchinson. So Hutchinson and Ndoye now the men providing the width, with Morgan Gibbs-White in the number 10 role, more familiar behind Igor Jesus, as the scarves are raised again here for second half. Mull of Kintyre. And we're underway with Forest in their red shirts, white shorts and red socks, attacking the Trent end in the second half, playing from right to left as we look at it. Fulham white shirts, black shorts, white socks. No changes for them. And you've heard the 2 changes for Forest, which means that they're with Sells in goal, a back 4. Aina has gone across to start on the right again, so that switch at the end of the first half seems very bizarre. But Aina on the right, Milenkovic and Murillo in the middle of a back 4, and then Williams on the left-hand side, Sangare and Anderson the holding roles in midfield. And then, although at the moment Anderson is well further forward than Gibbs-White, and Ndoye down the left, and it's he who's been sent forward here down the left-hand side into the penalty area he goes. Bassi comes across, leans on him, penalty, but he'll be offside. It won't count. It's not going to be a penalty because Dan Ndoye was offside in the first place. It's a lovely curling ball down the line towards him. He got free, he got away. In a way, he sort of delayed a bit to entice the challenge out of Bassi, who cleaned him out. And it would have been a penalty, but Ndoye was offside. Steve Hodge.
That get checked?
Yeah, it will get checked, I'm sure. And it does look as if he's just leaning forward. The boots might be together, but he's just leaning a little bit forward. There's not much in it.
No.
But I think he is offside. And once into the penalty area, I don't think there was any doubt he was certainly fouled. I think he was actually, I thought Kenny Tete got the first touch on him, but he was certainly cleaned out by Calvin Bassi. Penalty was given, and it is offside. Yep. Did look. We've only seen one replay where we've actually seen the run being made, and it looked close. But an encouraging start for Forest in the second half, albeit they've not got the result for it. Don't think I quite got through the entire team before that happened. And Ndoye's on the left, Hutchinson on the right, Gibbs-White in the number 10 role behind Igor Jesus. Anderson has now gone and sat in alongside Sangare, which we expected him to. Long ball forward for Fulham down the left-hand side, drifts out of play, and it'll be a throw which Ola Aina's going to take. The remaining Forest subs: Murato, Awonyi, Yates, McAtee, Nets, Bakwa and goalkeeper Gunn. What do you make of the half-time changes, Steve?
I think they had to happen. I'm not sure obviously if Hutchinson is injured or not, but certainly Hutchinson had to come on the pitch on the right side and get Gibbs-White back in the middle where he can do all his damage.
And we're just seeing the graphic which shows that Ndoye was just off the shoulder behind Kenny Tete when he made that run through before being fouled. Down very easily goes Oscar Bob, and Forest pick it up, sent down the right hand side. Gibbs-White gives Bassi a bit of a shove, and I think gets away with it. It's a throw to Forest.
I've got that.
It's a free kick every day of the week, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, the linesman's 3 feet away, obviously shoving the back, and we're 60 yards away.
Yeah.
No wonder he's going berserk, Bassi, because that's a pathetic decision.
Yeah, it just looked a foul every second. Anyway, it wasn't given, and Forest have got a throw.
Yeah,
and it's Ola Aina from the right hand side, hurls it in towards the near post and headed away. It stayed in play, didn't even go out, and then Joachim Anderson manages to clear it off Amari Hutchinson and out for a throw on the far side. Fulham's left as they play from left to right in the second half.
So if he has to near the end, then he'll probably throw on Awonyi, you would think, at some point off his bench. Not thinking that James McAtee will get on today. I mean, maybe he will do with the hero, but it'd be about time, to be fair, but not a lot on the bench to bring on. So
no, and having made the 2 changes wide, probably not Dylan Bakwa either.
No. He might have to go top at the end because he knows he needs to win this game.
0-0 is the score with nearly 5 minutes played in the second half. Anthony Robinson with a throw for Fulham on halfway. Poor throw. And Murillo picks it up for Forest in the middle of his own half and sends it back to Matt Sells, all in light blue, away to our right. Plays it out short again to the edge of the box for Murillo. And back again to Sells. Fulham have plenty of men inside the Forest half as Forest try and play out. This is Milenkovic for Sangare. Holds off the challenge of Josh King. He's now under pressure from him again, so has to go backwards again for Milenkovic. Milenkovic sweeps it away to the left for Murillo. Murillo, early ball forward towards Ndoye. Ndoye plays a good ball infield towards Jesus. First time layoff for Williams. Williams left wing, tries to pull it back and it clips straight into the path of Anderson, and his deflection carries it into Bernd Leno's arms.
That's just a typical move for us this game, actually. Good play, 3 or 4 good little passes, get to the final third, the ball in the box not good enough, and then the chance goes a begging again.
Sanderberger for Fulham, lays it off for Robinson to clear away down the left wing. Milenkovic wins the header. Down into midfield it goes. Ball goes loose in the Fulham half and Ndoye couldn't quite get there ahead of Tete. Anderson goes chasing after Iwobi, but Iwobi now leaves it for Wilson. Wilson sends it all the way back to his goalkeeper, Bernd Leno. Plays it out to Joachim Andersen. Long ball forward from him, across field from right to left. Controlled nicely by Oscar Bob. Now here's Iwobi. Challenge by Milenkovic is a good one. Wins it well. Referee allows it to go on, and now here's Sangare through the Fulham half. He's got Hutchinson to his right. Sangare just has run himself to a standstill down the right. Now gives it to Hutchinson. Fulham have got their men back. And now here's Aina with Sangare again down the right-hand side. Sangare rolls it now into the middle of the Fulham half for Anderson.
Oh.
Lovely ball first time, but too high for Ndoye, who's offside again.
Why is he offside?
Looking across the line.
Absolutely, why is he offside? Should not be offside. That's just lazy thinking.
And a free kick for Fulham. 7 minutes gone in the second half. Remains Forest 0, Fulham 0. On match day from BBC Radio Nottingham. As Bob can't keep that in play down the left wing. Manchester United have scored at Old Trafford against Aston Villa. Casemiro. United lead Villa by a goal to nil. Still 0-0 between Crystal Palace and Leeds. Leeds down to 10 men. Bill Goodmanson sent off for a second yellow card in added time at the end of the first half. Dominic Calvert-Lewin missed a penalty for Leeds as well. It remains 0-0 in that one. It's 0-0 in this one between Forest and Fulham, with almost 8 minutes played second half. This is Oscar Bob, left-hand side, 15 yards inside the Forest half for Fulham. Lays it off for Anthony Robinson. Goes back towards halfway. Bassi leaves it for Sanderberger. Berger rolls it across halfway for Anderson. Joachim Andersen gives it to Kenny Tete, and he sends it back to Bernd Leno once again. Back to Bassi. Wearing gloves, the Nigerian, into Iwobi's feet. Iwobi now for Tete, right-hand side for Wilson. Looks to switch play from right to left for Oscar Bob, who couldn't control it. It's just too far in front of him, so he tried to with his hand. Still couldn't, but it's a free kick.
Yeah, right behind that ball there from Harry Wilson. He's pinged it 60 yards, and we can't tell where we are, but I think probably the wind did get hold of it, and the bounce as well off the pitch. Made it hard for Oscar Bob to deal with it. Actually, he's dealt with 2 or 3 diagonals from the centre off in the last 5 minutes. Really difficult balls to deal with on a windy day, and that one he just failed to do so. But the game just is begging for a goal, obviously a red goal. But at the moment, you can't quite see it from anybody on the pitch.
Jesus waited for that to come onto him for too long, and it was nicked away from him by Joachim Andersen, who now spreads an aimless ball away to Fulham's left wing and turns it straight out of play. Taking all the jeopardy out of this game, and the fact that it's so crucial for Forest, and I know beforehand we talked about the only thing that matters is the 3 points, and that remains the case. It's not a very good game, is it?
No, poor quality. There's bits in it, but towards the final third there's no skill and inventiveness and real pace to go and have a go at somebody.
Here's Ndoye, just inside his own half. Tries the diagonal for Igor Jesus, 20 yards in front of him and through to Bernd Leno.
I mean, Undoy's not, he's a good athlete, but not the quickest. It's not like jet pace. Neither is Hutchinson, and neither is Gibbs-White, really.
That's over the top for Fulham, and Murillo cushions a nice header back to his goalkeeper. Sells.
But for us today, 0-0's not enough, I don't think. I mean, we'll see our Leeds go today, but it feels as though 0-0's not enough.
No, well, I mean, in a game like this, at home, I know for all the goal-scoring problems Forest have had, you've got to go and win it. But here come Fulham the other way. Layoff from Raul Jimenez finds Alex Iwobi up to the edge of the penalty area to cross, nodded down by Aina. Sangare gives it Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White tells Hutchinson to get on his bike and then plays it to him. Good ball. Hutchinson down the right-hand side. Fulham a bit stretched. Forest not many forward. Hutchinson's cross blocked by Bassi, goes out for a throw.
A better break. It seems that sometimes we are better on that counter-attack. We're getting a bit more space, and a good header down there from Aina, and we broke away with Gibbs-White and to the far side, across the near post, and again it's blocked by a white shirt.
Aina dries the ball on his shirt, and he's holding out his arms at his sides as if to say to Milenkovic, why aren't you coming forward? Come on.
We need to win one. We never win these, or at least keep it bobbing around.
Here is Ola Aina with the long throw to the edge of the 6-yard box or so, a bit further out, headed away by Anderson. Forrest Anderson nods it back in, so too does Gibbs-White. Now here's a low cross from Hutchinson to the penalty spot, smashed away by Fulham's Anderson. Forrest Anderson meanwhile has got up after being caught a bit late in that aerial challenge when he won that header to knock it back into the penalty area. And Forest have a throw which Aina takes backwards to Murillo. Aina for Murillo again. And now here's Elliot Anderson for Forest in the centre circle. Nico Williams, left-hand side. Gives it to Murillo once again. Tries to play one straight through the middle. Ola Aina is well forward and hits one. Oh, and rattles the crossbar. Great effort from Ola Aina, great run as well, and he hits the bar. It's the closest Forest have come, it's the most inventive Forest have been, and it was Murillo's ball to the fullback Ola Aina, who appeared sort of inside left channel. Now Aina gives it to Hutchinson. Hutchinson near the byline, onto his left foot, crosses, poor, headed away near post by Anderson. And Oscar Bob gets hold of it until Aina wins it back off him again, albeit it's going to be a throw to Fulham. But listen to the response from the crowd. It's what they want, some excitement, some inventiveness. They got it, they almost got a goal. Not quite. Ola Aina hit the crossbar.
Yeah, completely out the blue, ball down the middle of the pitch from Murillo, and there was Aina, took a touch with his right foot, and the ball just sat nice for his left foot as he approached the 18-yard box and just hit it on the volley with his left foot to the top right-hand corner and absolutely thudded the crossbar. Brilliant effort from the fullback, and for a second, like you say, Colin, the crowd got excited.
Headed away again by Joachim Andersen for Fulham. Brought down by Murillo on his chest in the centre circle. Sends it left-hand side. It's knocked away from Ndoye. Williams tries to keep it alive, but couldn't. Goes out of play, and it'll be a Fulham throw. Infield to Iwobi, and now Sander Berge. 13 minutes played in the second half. It's 0-0.
They're making changes, Fulham.
Fulham changes on the way. 3 have just been called back by Marco Silva. Fulham boss since July 2021. Sent forward long this by Joachim Andersen. Aina's underneath it to head it away towards halfway. Anthony Robinson gets to it before Jesus can. 14 played second half, 0-0 the score. This is Sander Berge for Fulham. Played out to the right-hand side for Wilson. Early ball on the floor into the penalty area. Cleared by Murillo from Jimenez and then cleared off Wilson by Williams.
You're looking at Williams there. He's got his hands in the air. He's looking. The guy got both his hands down his side. He looked down the line there, and Igor Jesus was on the halfway line in the centre circle, and he's at a left back situation with the ball. He needs to get across and help him. He didn't move.
That's a foul by Tete on Ndoye, and a free kick for Forest.
Go right back.
Williams switches play out to the right hand side, trying to get it in behind Robinson. for Amari Hutchinson. It's a good ball towards the corner flag. Hutchinson's got there, skips away from Robinson towards the corner of the penalty area, has to go backwards in the end for Ola Aina, and it's not the best of balls, and Aina has to challenge Josh King. He and Sangare exchange passes. Forrest still got it. That's better from Hutchinson, got away from Robinson, who fouled him. Free kick, and surely that's a yellow card. Yes, it is. Anthony Robinson in the book, and Taiwo Awoniyi
had to be
soon for Forest. In place of Jesus or as well as Jesus?
I think I'd go top. I'd go two up top. He's got to gamble. There's half an hour to go. We need to win this match.
Well, the Forest fans have seen Awoniyi getting ready, and they're excited to see him.
Which tells you a lot about this season.
Another striker to try and get a goal. Free kick Forest, wide on the right hand side, midway inside Fulham territory. It's Anderson to take towards the near post. Joachim Anderson heads it away, stabbed out the penalty area by Gibbs-White to Murillo, then won by Wilson, and now Fulham will break, and it is Harry Wilson leading the charge, and he plays it beyond Raul Jimenez, who won't keep that in play. Played it actually behind him, and he had to stop and retreat to Raul Jimenez. And now come the three changes for Fulham, and this is going to be a lot of new faces for Forest to contend with. Rodrigo Muniz is going to replace Jimenez up front, whose run of goal involvements against Forest comes to an end. 4 goals and an assist in 4 games against Forest before
Wilson,
today.
Surely, not played for 3 or 4 weeks. Wilson, you'd think he'd bring him off and look after him, really.
Chukwueze.
No, King's coming off.
Yeah, Lukic for King. That's the central midfield change. And Chukwueze is the third man to come on. And who's he replaced?
Well, Chukwueze's on. Lukic is on.
And it is Jesus who comes off to be replaced by Awoniyi for Forest. Huge cheers for Taiwo Awoniyi, whose goals got Forest out of a lot of problems in the first couple of seasons from around about this stage of the season, and they need him to do it again. I think it's Oscar Bobb who's the other player that's left for Fulham. This is over the top to Danandoy, who's clean. Yes! And scores! Danandoy has done it! It's Nico Williams' ball over the top down the inside left channel. Danandoy ran through and slotted it home in front of the Trent end. It's only his second Premier League goal. His first came on opening day, and now he puts Forest in front against Fulham on such a crucial Premier League occasion. Williams through ball inside left channel, and Doy away and in the clear on his right foot, rolled it home. Forest 1, Fulham 0. What a huge goal that could be.
We'll savour the moment. It's been a while in the league anyway. And for Danandoy, who's had a frustrating time in the season, really. And it's a tight one again for. I mean, there's a foot. It's got to be another. Just be careful at the moment.
That's very tight. That is very tight.
I'm not going to say anything until this goal is given, assured. And
VAR are looking at it. The referee has walked back to the centre circle, but I'm not sure about this.
No.
I think this might be just offside again. I think the excitement is about to be sucked out of the City ground once more. If it's given, then the roof might come off again. A collective holding of breath.
No.
It is offside. Forest cannot get a break. Morgan Gibbs-White, the captain, calls for the crowd to keep their spirits up. It's offside again. That's Danandoy, who thought he'd scored. Danandoy, who thought he'd won a penalty early in the second half. and it's still 0-0, and this is over the top into the Forest box and drops for Rodrigo Muniz, and Ola Aina gets his head to it to head it over the crossbar. Muniz on the volley, and Aina heads over his own crossbar. Just a good block from Ola Aina. Right place, right time. Been criticised for some of his defending last couple of games, but that's a great piece of defending. Sure what all the boos are about at the moment as Fulham prepare to take a corner from the far side. Their left. Alex Iwobi in towards the near post. Good header away. Volleyed in by Sasha Lukic, just wide. Matt Sells rooted to the spot. It was volleyed into the ground by Lukic and just wide of Sells' right-hand post.
Yeah, you've got to keep believing. It's one of them days today, I'm afraid. 2 tight calls, probably both right actually, but... Oh, hang on.
This is Iwobi almost through, not quite. It runs through to Matt Sells.
Desperation will feel now from Forest. The crowd are with them now. They're unhappy, obviously, the 2 VAR calls. But it needed something like that, just something to happen, maybe to go against Forest a couple of times to get the crowd involved as well and get the team up and really make it a bit of a basketball match now, because anyway I think they're going to win this game is to be helter-skelter backwards and forwards.
Ooh. Well, they thought they had a penalty ruled out by VAR. Ola Aina's hit the bar, and then they thought they had the goal through Dan and Doy, and that was ruled out by VAR as well. And now Fulham have it, and this is Alex Iwobi away to the left-hand side. He plays it as the rain comes down at the City ground again. This is switched across by Chukwueze to the right-hand side for Wilson. Wilson finds Tete, edge of the penalty area. Chukwueze trying to turn. Aina gets a foot in and wins it. Gibbs White sends this forward towards Awonyu, goes chasing after it. But Joachim Andersen gets across first. Awonyu with a challenge. And it's out of play for a throw to Fulham. But again, just the effort from Awonyu to go and close him down brings huge cheers from the crowd as they try and lift their side in the last quarter of this game. To get the win, that'd be so crucial to them. Kenny Tete with the throw. Backwards for Joachim Andersen for Fulham. Launched forward. And underneath it, Milenkovic to head down to Murillo. Lovely ball from Murillo, but just stabbed away from Williams and out for a throw, which is on halfway. And Doy down the line. And so too Gibbs White. And that's who's got it. Trying to run away from Berger, turn away from Berger, couldn't. Just ran out of room. And it's going to be a Fulham throw. Left by Andersen to Tete. Still 0-0 here at the City Ground on match day from BBC Radio Nottingham. Williams hoists this high down the line. Awonyu battling, put out a play on the volley by Andersen. And a Forest throw. 25 yards out. Williams throws backwards to Elliot Andersen, and he gives it to Milenkovic. Milenkovic for Elliot Andersen once again. Down the line to Ndoye, left-hand side. And shows a bit too much of that to Dan Ndoye, to Kenny Tete, easily cleared. Andersen picks it up for Forest, rolls it back to Milenkovic. He gives it to Ola Aina, and now here's Hutchinson down the far side, the Forest right. Aina made the run ahead of him. Instead, he's gone infield to Sangare, who now gives it to Aina. 20 yards into the Fulham half, but being forced back away towards halfway. Finds a good ball infield towards Hutchinson, but he runs into Sander Berger. Ball is down the right-hand side. Awonyu doing battle, but Fulham have played it round him to Berger and then Bassi. And then Iwobi down the left-hand side. Turns it back into the middle of his own half for Joachim Andersen. 0-0, 24 minutes played in the second half. 2 or 3 times Forest have thought that they'll have made the breakthrough in this second half. Penalty given and then ruled out because Ndoye was offside. Aina hit the bar and then Ndoye scored but ruled out because he was offside. And here come Fulham the other way. Iwobi back to the edge of the penalty area. It goes beyond pretty much everybody. It's collected by Tete as the rain starts to teem down again, a la Thursday night. Now here's Bassi for Iwobi. Iwobi left wing. Fulham got a man over down that far side. Robinson's cross is blocked. Aina goes and retrieves it, stops it going for a corner, then plays it off Rodrigo Muniz, and it's out for a Forest goal kick. Time ticking away.
Yeah, it is.
20 minutes to go.
If you're out there, like you say, you know the occasion is big today. You know they've got to keep going. You've got to forget the rain, forget tired legs from Thursday night. I mean, that's another thing about Thursday night now, that the rain's teeming down again now. Fulham had a bit of a rest during the week, and mentally it's a tough place to be, but they've got to keep going, got to keep believing. The one strike and winning the game and the 3 points, absolutely crucial. Got to keep going.
Good touch from Gibbs-White to Hutchinson, who's then battling with Anthony Robinson, turns it out of play for a Forest throw, taken quickly by Hutchinson to Gibbs-White. A pair of them continue to combine. It's turned backwards for Aina and Sangare. Now Gibbs-White for Hutchinson again, stabbed away from him by Robinson, and another Forest throw. It's still 0-0. It's still 0-0 at Selhurst as well, where Crystal Palace are playing 10-man leads. Manchester United now lead Aston Villa by 2-1. Ross Barkley had equalised. Mateus Cunha has made it 2-1. This is Harry Wilson for Fulham. Forward towards Muniz. He goes down under the challenge of Milenkovic. Referee waves play on. Fulham still got it. Go back towards halfway with Tete. Now right wing for Sasha Lukic, the Serbian. Gives it back to Tete, the Dutchman. Level with the edge of the penalty area, but coming backwards now for Joachim Andersen. Gives it in back again. Andersen down the right wing for Lukic. Lukic fires that cross against Nico Williams, wants it to run out of play, and Williams then plays it off Lukic. It's going to be a Forest throw at the end of that.
Yeah, good tenacious play there from Nico Williams in the corner flag. This ball running out of play, his favourite not to get there really. He went right round Sasha Lukic, kept the ball in play, and then passed the ball off his back of the ankle of Sasha Lukic and got the throw in. Great play.
Thrown down the line, straight to Sander Berge. Andersen thumps it away towards halfway. Bassi, though, sends it all the way back to Bernd Leno. 0-0, 72 minutes played.
Yeah, I mean, there's no press from Forest now, and they have the ball in the back four. Gibbs-White's height at the moment up the pitch. That diagonal's on again from Andersen to the far left-hand corner, headed well by Aina on that occasion.
Sangare lifts it away over his shoulder to halfway, chested down by Awoniyi, but then gets nicked away from him by Bassi, brings him down, and it'll be a free kick. And Ryan Yates is coming on for Forest. In midfield, it's going to replace Morgan Gibbs-White. 73 minutes.
So he's going to put Andersen in an 10 role, we would have to assume.
Yeah, you'd imagine so.
Is that a thought about Thursday night? But I mean, that's not as important as the last 20 minutes here today for me.
Yeah, Gibbs-White gets a handshake from Vitor Pereira. Makes his way off the field. Andersen has been pushed a little bit further forward. And Yates on into midfield, with the captain's armband presented to him as well, as Gibbs-White went off. 0-0 the score. Crowd's gone quiet again after the excitement a little bit earlier in the half. Sangare wins this well, feeds it forward to the feet of Awoniyi, holds on to it. Andersen tried to move it quickly to Hutchinson, couldn't be quick enough though because he was surrounded by white shirts. Yates wins it well, then Awoniyi feeds it to Hutchinson. Hutchinson's away from Andersen, and Joachim Andersen just grabs him round the shoulder and gets a yellow card. He was away and bearing down from an angle towards the penalty area, but they were covering defenders and Andersen knew it, and he knew exactly what he was doing, and he hauls him down, and Forest will have a free kick and Andersen will go into the notebook.
Yeah, and that's just like the first half one with Sander Berge, someone going through on goal to attack the goal, and as they do, cynically brought down their definite yellow card, but he'll probably take that with 15 minutes to go in the game. And now it's a good position from Forest point of view, but someone needs to get the head on the ball. I keep saying it, but it's always a white shirt heads the ball. It's got to change.
Couple of yards outside the corner of the penalty area, right hand side for Forest. As we tick round to 15 minutes to go, Amari Hutchinson standing over this free kick.
It's great for Murillo to smash it.
Could do. Murillo standing close to it. It is Hutchinson though, drives it, fizzes it into the near post, but it is headed clear. Anderson nods it back in, Yates hooks it forward. That Sangare goes and retrieves. He sends it across. Muniz heads it for Fulham. Again, there's a white shirt to head it away. Aina nods it forward again. Milenkovic heads it down. Sangare turns it right-hand side for Hutchinson. Hutchinson up against Robinson again down that right side for Forest. Hutchinson onto his left foot, then back onto his right. His challenge comes out for Yates. And a goal kick is given. As Yates fires in a first-time cross, it's blocked by Chukwueze.
Not sure that can be.
And it's a goal kick.
Not a corner.
I mean, Yates is smiling about it with referee Sam Barrett. But goal kick it is. It's better play by Forest. Looks a bit more urgent. I've just seen a replay of it. I still don't quite know how it's a corner.
And not a corner.
Sorry, it's not a corner, yeah. Well, I mean, Yates has just
it's a corner.
Hit it off Chukwueze and he's gone flying out of play.
He's just not seen it.
Here's Yates, diving header forward. He's unlucky. That almost got 2 or 3 Forest players away, but as it was nodded clear. And now here comes Fulham the other way. This is Anthony Robinson with a deep cross looking for Wilson. Oh, great defensive header from Nico Williams, running back towards his own goal to get his head to it and turn it away for a throw. As that ball's about to drop onto the head of Harry Wilson, or give him the chance to control it, whatever he wanted to do with it. Play by Nico Williams. Throw for Fulham, right hand side. Kenny Tete to take. Score remains 0-0, 13 minutes to go. Tete into Wilson, gives it back to Tete to cross deep. Muniz underneath it, it's over him. And then Hutchinson tries to clear the penalty area. He's done well. And now feeds it forward towards Awoniyi. Awoniyi battling with Calvin Bassey, trying to get past him. And Bassey is too strong for him, although in the end a free kick's been given against Awoniyi. Good physical battle, shoulder to shoulder. In the end, looked as if Bassey had won it and nicked it away from him. But the free kick is given.
Yeah, good battle between 2 big guys there. I mean, Bassey's probably the bigger and stronger and fitter, and he's been around and playing regularly last year or two, and you just saw a time where he's got a bit leggy at that long run. He was just too strong for him. He's pulled his shirt back, and it's definitely a free kick for Fulham as they change their midfield. Sanderberger comes off, and local boy Tom Kearney comes on for Fulham.
Yep, Tom Kearney, born in these parts, but a couple of Scottish caps in his career. Been at Fulham a long time now, almost 11 years at Craven Cottage, and on into the middle of their midfield. 12 to go. Forest need a goal. It's 0-0. A point would take Forest out of the relegation zone, but this feels like a day to cash in. Out it goes wide left for Fulham for Anthony Robinson. He tucks it back infield for Kearney, and now Sasha Lukic gives it to Tete. Tete out to the right hand side. This is Harry Wilson running back towards halfway, hassled by Nico Williams. Gives it to Alex Iwobi. Iwobi all the way back to halfway and rolls it back deeper into his own half for Calvin Bassey. Bassey for Kearney and gives it back to Calvin Bassey again. 11 to go. 0-0 in the rain at the City Ground. Forest just desperate for a goal from somewhere.
Yeah, they can't get their ball back at the moment, and Fulham just as they're waiting, keeping the ball. Forest don't want to press them too much because they might get picked off, and it's probably 1 or 2 tired legs in there also from Thursday evening now.
1 goal in the last 5 Premier League games here at the City Ground. A 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace. Lofted forward by Joachim Andersen for Fulham, but out of play for a Forest throw. Williams is going to take it 10 yards inside his own half. Manchester United 3-1 up over Aston Villa now. Thrown forward by Williams, headed on by Andersen, and Doy doing battle. Andersen gets a challenge in, stabbed away towards halfway. Sangare turns it forward, whacked away by Joachim Andersen for Fulham. Milenkovic underneath it, but his header is picked up in midfield by Chukwueze. Fulham go back into their own half again for Bassi. And Robinson sends it all the way back to Bernd Leno. 10 minutes remaining.
As a Fulham, they're keeping 3 men up the pitch at the moment, 3 high up the pitch against Forest 4, and also will be joining in as well.
It's 4 against 4 now as Iwobi joins in. Muniz nods it down. This is Chukwueze, sends it low into the penalty area, and Iwobi can't send it towards goal. It's wide of the target. Now Fulham are claiming corner, and I don't think that was. I think that went off Iwobi last.
I mean,
he was challenged at the near post.
He was challenged at the end, but he wandered in there from the midfield area, no one anywhere near him.
Sent forward towards Andersen, knocked away from him by Tete. And Fulham have it back again, and now Forest have kind of having the least amount of possession I think they have in the whole half, in the whole game. Here's Iwobi for Fulham to Wilson down the right hand side, and Doy gets the challenge in, and it's won by Williams, and now Sangare for Yates. Halfway inside his own half to the left for Williams. Williams charges forward into Fulham territory, tried to play a ball into Andersen, but it's cut out by Lukic and smashed away now by Bernd Leno towards halfway. Milenkovic underneath it, heads it up in the air. Aina heads it forward, nodded across halfway by Lukic. Muniz nods it down to Kearney. Kearney gives it Robinson on the overlap for Fulham, down the left wing, tracked by Hutchinson. Back it comes to Tom Kearney. Kearney rolls it infield. This is Chukwueze. Now Harry Wilson 25 yards out, good challenge by Sangare. The ball goes out for a Fulham throw on the far side.
Yeah, there is that feel, you're right, Colin, at the moment, that they're having more possession on the ball, comfortable possession, seeing a pass, picking a pass. And 1-2 the Forest players now are on their haunches a little bit as we enter the last 8 to 9 minutes of normal time.
Joachim Andersen has the ball for Fulham back inside his own half.
And for a team desperate to get the ball back, the legs aren't there at the moment for Forest.
Here's Wilson. Wilson chips this forward into the penalty area. Milenkovic just going to be too strong for Muniz and make sure this goes away from him and out for a goal kick. And it's still 0-0. And Forest would give a lot for a goal from somewhere, but they need to get the ball first. Sent long by Sells towards Awonyi, doesn't reach him, headed away by Robinson. Back goes Aina, he lofts it forward. Awonyi goes chasing after it, it's nodded away by Bassi. Yates picks it up, stabs it just behind Robinson, behind Hutchinson. Robinson steps in, and it'll be a throw.
Taking the throw in so slowly, Forest.
Doesn't seem a lot of urgency, does it?
This 83rd minute, and there's just ambling to throw-ins.
Aina throws down the line. Andersen trying to get away from Bassi, who's just shouldered him off the ball, and then Yates is a bit late on Bassi. And Bassi stays down. Bit surprised, no card for Yates.
Yeah, he was late.
Bassi was clearing.
I think he left one in, as they say.
And Bassi now gets back up to his feet.
No, it wasn't too bad for Yates, to be fair.
It wasn't too bad from Yates to be. It's one of those where perhaps Bassi's clearing it, and he's sort of kicked Yates' leg, really, if anything. Not as bad as it looked from over here on the far side of the field in the first instance, but only 6 to go now. And Forest, Muniz has got away from Murillo down the right hand side for Fulham. Takes an extra touch, which allows Murillo to get back and get the block in, and that'll be a Fulham corner.
Yeah, you've got outstrength there, Murillo, his compatriot from Brazil, and a corner is obviously a worrying thing, but that's the least of really at the moment. The ball's nowhere near the Fulham goal.
Forest, of course, must not concede. It's Harry Wilson to take from the Fulham right. Iwobi was offering a short option, now runs away. Wilson delivers towards the back post. Yates gets up and wins the header, claiming he was fouled. But the ball goes out for another corner, this time on the far side. The Fulham left. Fulham in no hurry to take this whatsoever. I would hesitate to say they seem happy with a point, Fulham, because Forest have been stung with late goals this season as well, and having offered very little so far. You wouldn't put it past them. That's football. Here's Iwobi into the near post. Ola Aina heads it away. Hutchinson can't control. Iwobi has it again. Hutchinson sticking at him, but Iwobi's turned away from him 3 times and crosses, but too deep. And Williams allows this to run across his body and then clear down the left-hand side towards Awoniyi, but it goes past him, and Robinson is back covering and sends it all the way back to Bernd Leno.
Got to go and get the ball, guys. They're just backing off and there's just no point. They have to go and get the ball as a group and take a gamble. I mean, like I say, 0-0 might be a good result because Leeds are drawing still 0-0.
Yeah, so they've got to take advantage.
Yeah.
Spurs might lose later.
The Spurs were thinking now, if we can just get something at Liverpool, we can jump out of this. But yeah, it's a home game for us today. We have to go and win it.
Anderson's long ball forward. Aina gets up, wins the header, but it goes out for a Fulham throw, level with the edge of the penalty area. James McAtee is ready for Forest as their 5th and final substitute. And again, Fulham take an age, this time over a throw. Robinson straight onto the head of Aina to head it away. Hutchinson helps it away further with his head. It's sent back to Hutchinson, who needs help from Yates to keep possession. Then Sangare to the right wing for Anderson, who curls one forward for Awoniyi. Awoniyi is goal side, and Awoniyi is through, and Awoniyi drags it wide. He's into the inside right channel, but it's dragged wide across the face of goal. I think he'd have been offside. I think he was offside when the ball was played through, but he wasn't to know that, and he knows it was a chance, and he was through, and it's dragged across the face of goal and wide. And Elliot Anderson's afternoon comes to an end to be replaced by James McAtee. It remains 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, the pass from Anderson on the right wing was brilliant in behind the back 2 of Fulham. I think, it was another close one, definitely, but I kind of didn't fancy when he went through, I have to say, one-on-one with the keeper. And just, it's a bit like when he scored the one against Arsenal, that famous goal 3 or 4 years ago, but on this occasion it was a similar kind of bobbler from the Arsenal one, but this one went wide at the bottom at the left-hand post. And that chance, if it was a chance, goes a begging again.
Fulham try and play out from the back. Press on from Forest. Bassey's ended up having to go long, collected by Aina on halfway. And now Murillo into the feet of Ndoye. Holds off the challenges, turns into some space in the middle of the Fulham half and rolls out a ball to the right-hand side. This is Amari Hutchinson taking on Robinson on the outside. Curls over the cross. Williams tries to bring it down and shoot, and that's blocked. Spins out of the penalty area, brought down by Murillo, who's halfway inside the Fulham half, but turning back towards halfway now.
Ball's gone.
Oh, the ball's flat. Ball's popped. And that's probably when the shot from Williams was charged out. Uncontested drop ball from Murillo, who tries to switch play across field, and it's charged down by Muniz, and now Aina has to stretch and send it back towards Sells. Sells clears long, and Ndoye trying to bring the ball down under the challenge of Tete. Does bring the ball down under the challenge of Tete, and then wins a free kick as Tete fouls it. This free kick is only about 20 yards, if that, inside the Fulham half. We are in the 90th minute. It's 0-0. And McAtee, having just come on the field, comes across to this near side, the left, to take. Fulham with a line defensively a couple of yards outside their penalty area, sort of across the line, parallel with the top of the D. And McAtee to take. McAtee, left-hand side, rolls it down the inside left channel for Ndoye, gives it back to McAtee now. McAtee turns away from one into the penalty area and then loses it to Sasha Lukic. Williams in a 50-50 goes and wins it against Iwobi. It wasn't a 50-50 because Iwobi didn't fancy it. Williams has it and crosses, aimed at Yates, and it evades him and goes behind. And we'll have 6 minutes of added time. Forest have got 6 minutes to try and find a winner. It's 0-0 at the City Ground.
Yeah, I mean, good play from McAtee at the start of that, but with everybody in the box, at some point he had to get the ball in the box and try to take too many people on, and got eventually shoved out of the way, I think, by Iwobi eventually, and they kind of nearly broke away. But just the thinking there, the initial ball was decent, little one too, with the guy came towards the ball, but then that ball has to be delivered.
Fifth substitution made by Marco Silva for Fulham. Ryan Sessegnon is on, and he's going to play on the wing. He's replaced Harry Wilson. This is headed on by Muniz, but straight out of play. Oh dear me, goodness me. Rodrigo Muniz has just gone up for an aerial challenge, headed the ball straight out of play, sat down after, well, fallen down onto his backside, looked at the referee to see which way he's going to point. He points in the direction of a Forest throw, and Muniz falls flat on his back. Throw for Nico Williams. He's got up at least quickly. Rodrigo Muniz thrown down the line by Williams. Tete heads it away. Another throw for Forest. Ball comes back fairly quickly. Williams throws it down the line. Tete wins that header as well. Yates lofts it forward towards Ndoye. Ndoye, it's nicked away from him by Anderson, and again a goal kick is given. And there's no real argument from Dan Ndoye. It's just it must have been played off him last. And a goal kick for Bernd Leno, and that's the first, unbelievably, the first 2 minutes of added time have gone already. And it's 0-0.
To be fair, the crowd are still here actually. No one's really gone home. They know how important this last 4 or 5 minutes could be.
Milenkovic wins the header, but then Robinson is quicker to the ball than Hutchinson. Milenkovic wins the next header. McAtee tries to send it forward quickly, but missed kicks, and Fulham have it again. And now here's Chukwueze down the left-hand side. McAtee gets back, tracking with Robinson, and wins it well. Has the ball at his feet, running towards the touchline on the far side. Gets help from Ola Aina with the challenge, but it's Fulham who come away with it again. Iwobi for Tete as they work it right-hand side. This is Sessegnon up against Nico Williams. Sessegnon steps away from Williams. Now he's trying to get away from Sangare. He's played the ball straight to Yates. Yates forward towards Awonyi. Awonyi looked like he was held. And then Tete beats Sangare in the challenge. And Fulham have the ball back again. 3 minutes to go, 0-0. 3 minutes of added time, that is. As this is chipped by Tom Kearney down the left wing. Anthony Robinson hits the byline and pulls it back. Milenkovic wins a really good challenge against Rodrigo Muniz at the near post. Sent forward towards McAtee, but he can't keep hold of the ball. And Fulham have got it back again.
Yeah, plenty of space now. Fulham just keep the ball where it is. Let it. No need to go forward at all. I mean, they are doing, but no pressure on the ball whatsoever.
Sasa Lukic on halfway. Stops. And now goes a few yards into the Forest half before knocking it away to his right for Tete, and he gives it to Sessegnon. Ryan Sessegnon for Lukic again. There's space for Robinson left-hand side, but he just tucks it backwards for Tom Kearney. Kearney dinks one across to Iwobi down the right. Alex Iwobi, ball into the penalty area, is going to go straight through to Matt Sells, and Sells is going to look to clear long straight away for Awonyi.
Who's with him?
Awonyi is all on his own here up against Joachim Andersen. The ball bounces and Awonyi wins it, goes down, referee waves play on, and Fulham have got it again. But he was so isolated. It was Awonyi. There's nobody within 20-30 yards of him. Here's Iwobi for Fulham the other way. Iwobi fires over the cross deep, looks too deep, and it is too deep for everybody, and goes out for a throw to Forest on the far side, the right. And Forest have got a minute and a half, and Ola Aina walks across to take the throw near his own corner flag.
I mean, maybe they're thinking at the points, not a bad result.
They've accepted it, haven't they, by the looks of that? There's no hurry whatsoever here for Forest. They're deep inside their own half. And Aina is still not taking the throw.
I don't get that. I really don't get that.
That was pretty much a full 30 seconds, and from it, Fulham have won it and knocked forward by Sessegnon, but into the penalty area, and Sells retrieves, drops it at his feet, and then clears long towards Awoniyi again, up against Calvin Bassey this time. Joachim Andersen, though, also with him, heads it away, and Fulham have got the ball again. Sangare hoisted over the top, and Awoniyi trying to get in here. Awoniyi is into the penalty area. Oh, it's a fabulous block by Tete, and Forest get a corner. Well, this is it. It's 0-0. We are in the 6th minute of added time. Forest have offered little from their set pieces all afternoon, but now they have the opportunity right at the end to get a goal, which would be so crucial. It's Amari Hutchinson to take the corner from the right-hand side, left-footed, in-swinging corner in front of the Trent end, near post. It's headed across the face of goal. Comes out for McAtee. McAtee left wing, sends it back to Williams. Williams fires over the cross, deep towards the back post. Milenkovic cushions a header down. Comes out now for Amari Hutchinson. Hutchinson is back 30 yards out, running across towards the middle of the Fulham half. Oh, and he's given it away to Sessegnon. Played it across the Fulham half, and now here's Kearney, and that's a good challenge from McAtee, and that's full time. There's the full time whistle. There are some boos, not many. There are some boos around the City ground. There's some applause as well. It's a real mixed bag to greet another point for Forest. But frustratingly, another afternoon without a goal. Another afternoon where they've done a lot of good things, but another afternoon where they've been frustrated in front of goal. The point does lift them back outside the relegation zone. 0-0 draw at home to Fulham gives them the point they need to get themselves back above West Ham United and out of the bottom three. So that at least is something. They do have something out of the game, but what they don't have is a goal. They thought they had a penalty early in the second half when Ndoye was brought down by Bassey, but Ndoye was offside. They thought they'd scored perhaps when Ola Aina rattled the crossbar from Murillo's pass after 57 minutes, and then they really thought they'd scored when Dan Ndoye had the ball in the net on 63 from Nico Williams' ball over the top. But again, the VAR ruled that Ndoye was in an offside position, and that goal was ruled out as well. Fulham offered little the other way, but Forest couldn't find a way through again. It's more frustration in front of goal. It's 0-0. It is a point. They're out of the bottom three. The fight is still on, but the question still remains as the boos of Sam Barrett, the referee, and his assistants as he leaves the field, they leave the field. The question still remains, can Forest find enough goals to stay in the Premier League? Steve Hodge.
Yeah, so obviously without saying, it's a frustrating afternoon again for the Forest faithful down here. A little bit, well, much like Midtjylland really, much like Wolves, much like Liverpool as well, apart from the first half against Liverpool. But just had the feeling in the second half that the fans were not believing, and that the players, obviously, to be fair to the players, a lot of players are putting a real shift today again after Thursday night as well on a heavy pitch. Clean sheet was good today. I mean, I think it's been a pretty comfortable afternoon for Matt Sells in the main. I think he'll be pleased with that. But it did feel today like it was a game that we needed to win. With looking at where Leeds were going, they've had 10 men. They're going to probably survive and get a 0-0 at Palace. So again, nothing on them today. And of course, probably with West Ham yesterday also picking up a point, it gets us out of there. But it means we're going to have to go somewhere and get a surprise result, be it at Man United or Chelsea down the line or Sunderland. And of course, win home games. That's the issue now. We can't score a goal at home. So, you know, the fans aren't daft. We're not daft. We've seen it now. It's not a fluke, not a one-off. Lack of goals is going to be our downfall. I mean, 13 13 goals in 15 games at home is paltry. With the players we have, we should be getting more than that, from not just from the strikers, from all over the pitch. And at the moment, you don't really see what's coming. Obviously, it's unfortunate with the 2 goals being ruled out today. That could have gone our way, but
it looked like they were right, didn't it?
Absolutely.
When it's offside, we saw the graphics for both of them. He was just offside on both occasions, so they can't have an argument about whether he was offside.
That's
or
what the second one. I paused, thinking, well, I'd seen the replay, thinking, well, I'm not going to comment on that or make an opinion on that, because I think that could be a VAR, and it wasn't, and quite rightly it was ruled out. So, some go for you, some don't, but those we think were both right, correct decisions. At the end of the day, as it was against Wolves, no goals. Liverpool, no goals. Today, no goals. Midtjylland, no goals. How you turn that around with the players you've got, you can't change anybody. You can change systems a little bit. You can go 2 up top. I actually thought he'd go 2 up top, to be fair, and take a risk, but he didn't. Maybe Jesus feeling the effects of the other night as well. Got a game Thursday night. And obviously, Spurs also on the horizon as well. So a lot of things for the manager to kind of think about today down the line, next 2 games. But I think when we reflect on this, wherever we finish at the end of the season, it does feel like Wolves at home 0-0 and Fulham at home 0-0, together with Sunderland losing 1-0 and Brighton 2-0, and we just not score goals against teams that we expect to score goals against. And that, I think, that at the moment is our undoing, and it could make us suffer, the ultimate relegation. We're not down and out. There's still 8 games to go. We've got to somehow find goals from somewhere. And are these players going to score goals? Can they score goals? Well, I don't think so personally, because the record this season doesn't tell me they can. Gibbs White by a mile is the leading scorer. The only hope on the horizon is we get Chris Wood back fit for the last 6-7 games, and he somehow, having probably have to come on the pitch for 20 minutes in the game, half an hour at the start, somehow can produce what he can produce over the course of his career. He's been brilliant at that, but he's asking a lot of the 35-year-old not played for 7 months to come and rescue the situation at the moment. But that's what we're in now.
Well, we shall see what happens on that front. Start of a crucial week for Forest has not been a disaster, but it's not gone, of course, as Forest would have entirely liked it. They are blanked on their own pitch again for the 9th time this season, and it means that despite having the ball in the net, ruled out by VAR, despite having a penalty given, ruled out by VAR, and despite having rattled the Fulham crossbar, they are blanked again here on their own pitch in front of just over 30,013 here today. It's finished Forest 0, Fulham 0. They are at least back outside the relegation zone.
That's another 11 shots to add to the stats. We're up to 99 now in the last 5 games that have produced 1 goal, no win in 7 in the Premier League. Forest, as Colin says, at least just outside the relegation zone. We'll look through the impact on the table shortly on BBC Radio Nottingham. Full time at Selhurst Park, 0-0 between Palace and Leeds. Leeds down to 10 men for the whole of the second half. They missed a penalty towards the end of that first half as well. And Manchester United stay third. They've beaten Aston Villa 3-1. Goals from Casemiro, Mateus Cunha and Benjamin Sesko. Ross Barkley scoring for Aston Villa. So United 3, Villa 1. Liverpool against Spurs, of course, is at 4:30. It's match day. David Jackson here on BBC Radio Nottingham at 4:02.
On BBC iPlayer. If you're not the beautiful one, the quick-witted one, or the ones that are good at games and full of youthful energy, then who are you?
Miss Bennett.
I must be. Oh, yes, I am. Starring Ruth Jones and Richard E. Grant.
I will not attend another of those insufferable, muddy little dancers.
Miss Bennett is a radical thinker.
I told you no one would marry you if you wore spectacles.
The other Bennett sister.
The most important thing is to be yourself.
Watch on BBC iPlayer.
Match day. BBC Radio Nottingham.
Yes, David Jackson here at the City Ground. We're with you till 5. Colin will get some reaction for you from the Forest camp between now and then. Plenty to talk about on BBC Radio Nottingham. From that disallowed goal, and Forest almost getting themselves a penalty at the start of the second half, and Ola Aina up from defence and hitting the bar as well. But Steve Hodge, I'd like to start at the end with you, if I may, which was this sense that Forest, from my point of view watching it, thinking Forest have got to go for all 3 points here, and then when they get the ball up pump the ball upfield. Taiwo Awoniyi's on his own. When they get throw in a defensive position, Ola Aina saunters over and walks over to get the ball, and everything seemed a little bit pedestrian. It didn't have that sense of urgency that I think probably many of the supporters felt there should be at the end of that game, because here was a game that was there for the taking, wasn't it? Fulham weren't brilliant. This was a game Forest had it in them to win, and there wasn't quite that oomph, it didn't feel like, out on the pitch.
Well, I mean, even from the first half, there wasn't the urgency. I'd be thinking from the first minute of the first, throw-in we had or goal kick, that people will be getting into play. Because at the end of the game, you can add on maybe 2 or 3 minutes that you save by getting things done quickly. And the ones at the end when, it happened twice in the far side as well, when I think it was Ola Aina again, it went for the corner or throw-in on the far side and just sauntered when the clock was on about 83 minutes. I was thinking, and then you mentioned obviously we could see in the far corner at 89 minutes that Aina was walking across, ambling across to the far corner in the corner flag where the Fulham fans were.
It took about 30 seconds to take a throw-in.
We've got 6 minutes of injury time here, and we had a chance, to be fair, because you had a shot eventually, but there wasn't that. And if I'm on the pitch, I'll be urging Aina to get on with it, get it back to the keeper or just get the ball in play again, because there's these kind of moments in games when it's a bit of a loss and nothing game, like the Wolves game really, and you're thinking, if we cash in it, it's an extra 2 points for not a lot of effort really, because it's not been a great game. But the way it's panned out and the lack of urgency for Aina there was a bit baffling, I have to say, and I don't understand it, because if he's thinking 0-0 home to Fulham when you're in the relegation zone is enough, not knowing what Leeds are doing elsewhere or Spurs are going to do in an hour's time, then I don't understand his thinking. I don't get that whatsoever, what he's thinking. To say he was the only one probably who was a bit like that. We saw Nico Williams get a couple of throw-ins and get on with it, and the corner flag near the end fought for the ball and got the throw-in, and he got on with it quite quickly. But even throw-ins or free kicks in the pitch weren't taken quickly enough for me to show the team and the fans that we have to get on with it. We know we're desperate. It's got to be intense. We've got to force an issue for Fulham, not make them feel comfortable at the back and feel as though they might have a panic up here and there. That never happened to them really today. And in the second half, as it waned on, you saw them get on the ball a lot more, and it changed again when the one you came on, because Jesus was he'd gone by then, physically gone. But all in all, again, just first half nowhere near enough, and the second half, obviously the 2 chances or opportunities that came my way that Ndoye put away the second one were both offside, and that is a fact. That's correct. And at the end of it, not enough craft, guile, muscle, strength, tenacity, nastiness, and bodies in the box for me.
It was so winnable today, wasn't it? You see that game there. You think about how Forest fought so hard to get a point against Manchester City, and what they had to do in that game to grind out and work so hard and play some good football, create those moves and get the goals to earn a point. Today it felt like the point came fairly easily. There wasn't a huge amount from Fulham to threaten Forest. This was a day when the 3 point, it was there for the taking, wasn't it?
Well, I think so. Well, it was, certainly. But if you ask their back four today, or back five, whatever it was, with Bassi and Anderson, they had a comfortable day office today. Yeah. Bernardo was untroubled in the game, really, apart from the one that went by him, which was offside. He hasn't made a save. I mean, I've not looked at the stats yet of that game, but it felt like a game where the keepers were untroubled and the shots came from range, if any.
I think there were 2 on target. There was certainly a Gibbs White free kick that
was a back pass,
straight at him.
Back pass.
Yeah, and there was another one I can't remember. I don't think he didn't have a difficult save to make.
Anderson shot the first half. He dragged wide with his left foot. So that was the first half highlights. I don't think Jesus had a shot on target in his time on the pitch today. Jesus, and he's our striker. So I'm not totally blaming him. I think his movement sometimes is too static in the box and doesn't leave areas to attack when it's in the wide areas. I think that could improve with him. But all round, you saw when Hutchinson came on that the ball's played to him sometimes over the top, but he hasn't got the pace to get away and people catch him up. Much the same with Dan Ndoye, who's probably a quicker athlete once he gets his long stride going, but he's not a natural left winger anyway. But he had a go second half to fair him. He ran in behind and he nearly forced something to happen through his endeavours, which I liked about him today. And Anderson runs around, does his stuff, retrieves the ball, keeps it recycled, gets the ball in the box. But when you're asking the midfield players, and I am, to get in the box, they're also going very deep to start moves off as well. So I can't have them both in both situations. You're asking your wide players and your strikers and your attacking midfielder to get your goals, and say 13 in 15 home games, and the last run has been a really bad run, where for all this 99 shots at goal in the last 5 games, well, all those shots, I can't think of muster many shots that I thought, got a chance. Keeper might not save that. Very few, none today, none at all. I mean, the only one was obviously hit the crossbar from Minor, but I don't even count that as being on target because it won't go in. So it's not me being picky. I think that's the rules kind of state sometimes if the ball's not gone on the goal, hit the post, it's not a chance. It's not on target. No. So, I can't defend him anymore. I can't defend at the moment. Not good enough. And people might say you're being negative and pessimistic. Look at the league table. I'd love to be saying here we beat 1-3-0 and Leeds have gotten whatever and Spurs are going to get beaten. Not happened again. It's not a one-off. Not a one-off by a long shot. I've been here the last 4 or 5 home games and never really felt, apart from Liverpool, as though we were playing well in the game. Always in the game, hard to score against, yes, but never really dominating apart from the first half against Liverpool. All the other games, Midtjylland, even Wolves could have nicked it in the end in the last minute when they went through a one-on-one with the young lad. Mane went through one-on-one. Could have lost that one because he couldn't score against Wolves. So, 8 games to go now, still in it. Midtjylland away. That's not irrelevant, but not the main one. The main now is one. Obviously, Spurs away a week today, so we'll see what they do in an hour's time. But next week at Spurs, one hell of a game for both teams.
Yeah, well, you said beforehand, didn't you? 4 points from these 2 games is what they need. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with Spurs in the next 7 days. Lots of speculation about Igor Tudor's future so soon in his tenure in charge, but it has been a disaster from the word go, really, for him at Spurs, and loads of injury problems as well. Liverpool away today. If they get beaten again, then there's every chance that Spurs might end up with a new manager next week, and then you've got suddenly a new boss, and Forest going there almost lambs to the slaughter, you'd have thought, kind of going to.
But we've had a few new bosses and that's not worked.
First game it has, I suppose. Dyche against Porto, Pereira in the Europa League, but it hasn't worked in the Premier League necessarily the next match. No. I don't think any new managers won their first game in the Premier League this season, but they've had success in their first match, which every time I think has been the Europa League. No, I beg your pardon. I think Ange Postecoglou may have been at Arsenal before the Betis game, but even so.
7 wins. We've had 7 wins in 30 games, and we had a win on the first day of the season, a really good win. But that obviously was a strange game when we look back now, how good we were that day and how it's imploded since then. Looked like that day, Chris Wood was playing that day as well, obviously. But on that day, looked like a really proper team who would challenge again maybe this year, but we all know the scenarios of what happened behind the scenes, and there's no point going into that now. It's now an 8-game season. We are in the mix. We could still stay up. There might be a twist at the end of this season where things do go our way in the last few games of the season. Difficult away games. I mean, they're all difficult when you're not playing well and not scoring goals, but Man U and Chelsea and Sunderland away obviously are very difficult.
Do you not think that the way Forest are at the moment, you almost look at those games as the most likely that Forest are going to get something? Because they go to Manchester City and get a point, and then in the games where you think, well, here we go, this is where they get the wins. I know they have got a point out of today, but they don't seem to be getting the points from the games where you expect them to come.
Yeah, and at some point that you probably think that's going to stop. So. Yeah, I mean, it is an indictment on this squad, to be fair, that they do seem to raise it against the better teams. We've gone through it over numerous times about the times this season when they played really well and put a shift in and sparkled a bit against the better teams and the global teams that come to this part of the world, or even when we've been away at places this year, like Liverpool this year. How can you go to Liverpool? It was bad as they were at that time, win 3-0 and be comfortable and then hammer Spurs, and as bad as they've been this year, and then, as I say, lose at home to Sunderland and draw 0-0 with Wolves and draw 1-1 with Burnley early in the season when they were having a terrible time. So it's an inconsistency in the attitude of the players that I believe has held them back this year. And yes, there have been things behind the scenes that they could give them excuses and say, well, it's been crap behind the scenes and there's been shenanigans and this manager didn't like me and this manager didn't like him, and there's all that can go off when you're down in the league and you want someone to blame. But no one kicks a ball apart from these players, and this year. Certainly at home, nowhere near good enough. And that's where that's where you win most of your points, and that's why when I say we've got to go to Chelsea, Man United, and Sunderland, and somewhere else, that's the reason why, because two of those teams are going for Champions League spots, so they're going to be difficult. Sunderland, to be fair, they're tiring a bit now in the season. Probably good time to go there, but with the way we're playing at the moment and lack of goal threat, nobody's scared of us at the moment. Nobody was scared of us, but we have got talented players, but we haven't got a goal scorer.
You look at the bottom of the league table then now, it obviously looks like Wolves are gone, and Burnley gone as well, but then you've got West Ham, Forest and Spurs all on 29 points. Spurs with that game in hand against Liverpool today. Leeds on 32, but Leeds aren't winning much at the moment either. West Ham are the most informed team of those, but it's so tight, and as you say, it's an 8-game season now. That's what you have to see it as, isn't it? Now, yeah. Vitor Pereira has to somehow try and unite these players, get enough out of them over the final few weeks of the season. How on earth you find goals? I don't know, when they're just not scoring goals at the moment. But he's got to find a way.
Well, he has. He's tried things today. He tried this first half different system. Hudson-Odoi right wing, different system, Gibbs White left wing, and he'd been that at half time. Wasn't happy with it. I think he was right to do that and go back to the more familiar positioning for the players who were the more comfortable. I can't fault him that he's trying to switch things around, and he's kept his back four in place today and got another clean sheet, which is good. Sangori's in there again with his strength, but it is in the final a bit. And McAtee's not played for a long time, but he came on and looked really, really, as you all do, it looked rusty and didn't look up the speed, and it looked like a little, not up to full Premier League strength when he came on the pitch. And these are proper athletes, and you've got to be like that. But he'd come on here and say, look, I don't play for weeks, and he's got a point, to be fair, because the main 11 play nearly all the games because the squad isn't big enough, no depth enough to give them a rest. So the European thing certainly has hindered us this year. It's certainly left the main first 11 players feeling at times, having to be pulled off early in games to keep up their freshness for the next game, like we have for next Thursday night. Hence Gibbs White came off today, I think, for that reason probably. But it's a conundrum that only the players can get the manager out of. He can do all he can do. He can change systems, he can encourage, he can be smiling around the place, he can give a great team talk, but at the end of the day, when they go to the white line, they have to find a way.
That idea of changing systems around, moving Hudson-Odoi to the right, putting Morgan Gibbs-White out on the left wing, that's one of those things where if it completely doesn't work, and it didn't really work with Gibbs-White out on the left, did it? He needed to be more central, to be more involved. But when it doesn't work, you kind of think, well, what was he playing at? But is there something in doing that just, I don't know, whether it be a particularly deliberate tactical thing because of the opponents, or is it kind of sometimes just to pique the players' interest, just to give them something different, just to try anything at this stage, to try and get some spark out of somewhere? Is that kind of what the reason for it sometimes?
I suppose Hudson-Odoi, to be fair,
he's played there before.
He's played right wing, so who knows about that, but he's more comfortable on the left hand side. He's happy down that side, certainly. That's where he can do most of his good work. Gibbs White played for us last year on the right wing, or last couple of seasons. He can play out there, but he plays narrow when he plays there and tucks inside to help midfield wise. But he's clearly a better player when he's a top player when he's a number 10. I don't honestly. I can't have a go at the manager whatsoever. But I do think if we get knocked out on Wednesday or Thursday, and then should lose against Tottenham, and if it's only won in 9 games, I said it on Thursday night, probably a bit premature. But if it gets to that situation where we're out of Europe and in the bottom 3 with 7 games to go, and his one win is this first game. I don't know if the owner will give him that chance to have the last 7 games. Maybe he will, maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying that the owner, he wouldn't put it past him if he thinks, I've given you 9 games and nothing's changed and we're still not down, we have a chance still. But at the end of the day, it's, you could put me in charge, you could put Piercy in charge, and is it the players don't seem to be good enough? So you can twist it all you want. You can go 3-5-2, 4-2-3-1, put Hudson-Odoi right wing, Gibbs White left wing. At the end of all of it, it's not much of a threat on the goal. So it has to be down to the players.
Yeah. Let's just, I mean, they did have the ball in the back of the net on one occasion today. Let's just listen to that. It was ultimately ruled out for offside. I mean, it couldn't have been more now. I think it was just Dan and Doy's heel that was offside. But he did go through and finish neatly just after the hour mark. This was it.
And this is over the top to Dan and Doy, who's cleaned. Yes! And scores! Dan and Doy has done it! It's Nico Williams' ball over the top down the inside left channel. And Doy ran through and slotted it home in front of the Trent end. It's only his second Premier League goal. His first came on opening day, and now he puts Forest in front against Fulham on such a crucial Premier League occasion. Williams through ball inside left channel, and Doy away and in the clear on his right foot, rolled it home. Forest 1, Fulham 0. What a huge goal that could be.
We'll savour the moment. It's been a while in the league anyway. Just be careful at the moment.
That's very tight. That is very tight. VAR are looking at it. I think this might be just offside again. I think the excitement is about to be sucked out of the City ground once more. A collective holding of breath. It is offside.
Yeah, and the excitement very much was sucked out of the City ground, to use Colin's phrase there. He'd got him once already, Steve Hodge, at the start of the right at the start of the second half. Again, a little ball dinked over the top for him, and he got in there, was fouled. Offside, would have been a penalty, and then he got in again, so you can see what the idea was, to try and use a little bit of pace and get in, and you know, but he just slightly missed time. I mean, that the first one was actually a fair bit offside, but the second one, it's just his heel. It's so close.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you're just playing in ball into striker's feet and it's being popped back and you're going right to left and it's just a bit boring to watch and you're getting nowhere, just sometimes just to change it, you just lump a ball down the sides, and with the wind and whatever it was at that time, it was quite strong. And he got the right side of the defender. You know, obviously in real time we can't really see exactly what's happened. He didn't look offside when he got onto the ball eventually and put it away, but you know, once we've seen the replay, you could see how tight that was going to be. Then I wasn't going to kind of comment on that goal because I did think it might be given offside again. So that was unfortunate. It happens. Both calls were right. Hasn't gone our way today, and you know, I wouldn't blame Dan and Doy for trying those things now and again, because he's a good athlete. He can get he's got you know, once he gets his legs going, he can cover the ground quite quickly, and he put the actual second one away really well with his finish. But you know, as I say, we can go back and say ifs and buts and maybes and all that. At the end of the day, it's still no goals. You know, I would commend the back four and keep it today. They got a good point from their point of view. Did their job today, kept it pretty clean, and no real alarms for Matt Sells in the game, apart from the one which I thought might be going in, where it was headed from Aina as it was going towards the top corner. But the back four were pretty solid today. Didn't give Raul Jimenez nothing to work on, so that's a positive you can take. I mean, the back four again have been pretty solid. They were the other night, to be fair, apart from when Aina switched off against Midtjylland and they got the winning goal near the end. So you know, it's plain to see for all the Premier League and everybody else that we have an issue scoring goals, and the facts, you know, 13 at home and I don't know how many away, but a few more away. But over the course of the season, 7 wins in 30 is going to cause you a real problem and going to leave you vulnerable.
Yeah, Chris Wood remains the last Forest striker to score a Premier League goal at the City ground for Forest. That was on the opening day.
That's a damning statement. It really. I know he's got injured and whatever, but for another 15 league games or 13 league games to go by and him to still be, that it's, you know, it's shocking. It really is.
Yeah, Igor Jesus hasn't got many in the Premier League. Most of his have come in the Europa League, and you know, goals in the League Cup and FA Cup as well against Swansea and Wrexham, but not many goals in the league. And when he has, they've been away from home. Lorenzo Luca has scored away from home at Leeds. Arno Kalimwendo didn't score in the league and obviously has left now. Taiwo got his goal, but away at Brentford. But I mean, Kalimwendo's an interesting, wasn't it? He goes in January, he's scoring goals in the Bundesliga. They've replaced him with Lorenzo Luca, who it seems nowhere near it, and you know, Taiwo Wonyu now is kind of the man who's being put on to try and get those goals, but there just aren't the options, are there? No. That you need at Premier League level when you are needing a goal, and Leeds are, you know, having Dominic Calvert-Lewin has that spell of scoring goals. And I know he had his troubles as well, particularly at the start of the season. But you're looking at who's going to get goals, and maybe West Ham have got one or two issues with that. Somerville's been getting most of them. He's injured just at the moment, but you've got to have a focal point. I mean, you've got to have a man who's getting you goals.
Well, you have, but West Ham haven't had that since Mikel Antonio got injured. Really,
Somerville seems to score every week.
Yeah, but
I know not in that position.
He stepped up. Bowen always steps up, to be fair to West Ham, but their strikers who we saw on the debut against Forest early in the season. We weren't that impressed with them that night. I mean, I think they've done okay. I think they've got a couple of goals, but they've not like really lit the place up. But maybe they are good for the dressing room, and they've fitted in nicely, and the harmony's there, and they're getting some decent results. But when your main striker is not scoring goals, and West Ham have had injury problems and whatever, Bowen and Somerville, I think he's coming with 6 or 7 goals. So. Of recent times, we've not had that. We've not had the wide players scoring 4, 5, 6 goals when they've known that the striker is struggling a little bit. He's struggling for form and for goals, and he's the only striker we've really got. Because the one year he's not been fit until recently as well. It's like I say, Callum Wendo wasn't fancied, so we've gone the whole season really with Igor Jesus and hardly any backup really. So you're asking your wide players to step up, and they haven't in terms of goals output. Somerville's obviously was at Leeds a few years ago, and he's had a struggling 2 years. But I think this year with the World Cup on the horizon, I think he's trying to get in the Holland squad as well. He has massively stepped up, and he's the main reason now that they are not, they're back in there again, but they are well in contention to get out of the mess they were in early in the season. You could. I said before the game, Hutchinson's got 1 this season. I think Callum's got probably 2 in the league. Undo's got 1 first game of the season. It's paltry. Our goals output is paltry. So that's I'm not. I've said it a million. We all know it. I've said it a million times recently. It's not good enough. And in the Premier League, you will get found out, and at some point, another team will hit a patch like Somerville, and they'll go flying past you. But at the moment, I look at our squad and think, well, who's going to kind of come from nowhere and light the place up and get 3 and 4, or a couple or a double somewhere. And it might have to be at Man United or Chelsea where somebody springs into action and really produces something which we don't expect. But at the moment, our form is very, very poor in terms of goal output, and we need at least, as I said before, we probably need another 3 wins minimum out of our last 8 games.
More to come from Steve Hodge. We'll look ahead to the second leg against Midtjylland in the Europa League shortly as well, and reaction to come from Vitor Pereira from Colin Frey in the next few minutes as well. 26 minutes past 4, Forest drawing here with Fulham on BBC Radio Nottingham. 0-0 it finished. Here are the highlights.
Free kick Fulham, halfway inside the Forest half on the right. Iwobi takes, free header Calvin Bassey, good save Matt Sells with his legs on the line, and then recovers to grab it. As players pile in on top of him, he gets hold of it with his arms and makes a very, very good save, the Belgian. Way too much room for Calvin Bassey. Good delivery from Iwobi, and that's a free header for Bassey from the set piece. And from a Fulham point of view, he knows he should have given them the lead, but it's a fine save from the goalkeeper.
He's offside anyway.
Yeah, his shoulder might have been just offside. 3 still standing over the ball. The referee's blown his whistle. I don't know what we're waiting for now. It's rolled short for Gibbs White to hit through the wall, actually low down but straight at Bernd Leno, and a comfortable save. Sells long down the left hand side looking for Gibbs White, who's let that run over his head and then has done a good job to keep it in play, and then back heels down the line for Nico Williams. Did a good job on Kenny Tete, and now here's the low shot from Dominguez, which forces a save out of Bernd Leno, diving away low to his right. On target from Dominguez. That's good from Forest, much more like it. Really good from Morgan Gibbs White. Kenny Tete, I don't think, thought he had a prayer of keeping that in, but Gibbs White did so. Williams on the overlap, pulled back, Dominguez with the shot from the edge of the box, and the goalkeeper making the save down low by his post. Here he is, Wilson, to take the right wing corner with the left foot. Near post, oh, that's gone far post actually, and it's just headed beyond the far post. There's a crowd of bodies in the goal. And one of them is Matt Sells, who will therefore claim he was fouled, but any argument as the ball fizzed wide anywhere, think off the head of Joachim Andersen, any argument or anger is taken out of Matt Sells by the half-time whistle. I mean, Sells was held in the first place by Berger and then bundled into by a crowd of bodies and shoved into the back of the net as the header went wide of the post. Good delivery from Wilson from the corner. But the half ends 0-0. It's a smattering of applause as Forest leave the field at half-time. And Doy down the left, and it's he who's been sent forward here down the left-hand side into the penalty area he goes. Bassey comes across, leans on him, penalty, but he'll be offside. It won't count. It's not going to be a penalty because Dan and Doy was offside in the first place. Nico Williams, left-hand side, gives it to Murillo once again, tries to play one straight through the middle. Ola Aina is well forward and hits one and rattles the crossbar. Great effort from Ola Aina, great run as well, and he hits the bar. It's the closest Forest have come. It's the most inventive Forest have been. And this is over the top to Dan and Doy, who's clean. Yes! And scores! Dan and Doy has done it! It's Nico Williams' ball over the top down the inside left channel. And Ndoye ran through and slotted it home in front of the Trent end. It's only his second Premier League goal. His first came on opening day, and now he puts Forest in front against Fulham on such a crucial Premier League occasion. Williams through ball inside left channel, and Ndoye away and in the clear on his right foot, rolled it home. Forest 1, Fulham 0. What a huge goal that could be.
We'll savour the moment. It's been a while in the league anyway. Just be careful at the moment.
That's very tight. That is very tight.
I'm not going to say anything until this goal is given, assured. And
VAR are looking at it. The referee has walked back to the centre circle, but I'm not sure about this.
No.
I think this might be just offside again. I think the excitement is about to be sucked out of the City ground once more. If it's given, then the roof might come off again. A collective holding of breath. It is offside. Hutchinson, who needs help from Yates to keep possession, then Sangare to the right wing for Anderson, who curls one forward for Awoniyi. Awoniyi is goal side, and Awoniyi is through, and Awoniyi drags it wide. He's into the inside right channel, but it's dragged wide across the face of goal, and we'll have 6 minutes of added time. Forest have got 6 minutes to try and find a winner. It's 0-0 at the City ground. Sangare hoisted over the top, and Awoniyi trying to get in here. Awoniyi is into the penalty area.
Corner.
Oh, it's a fabulous block by Tete. And Forest get a corner, and now here's Kearney, and that's a good challenge from McAtee, and that's full time. There's the full-time whistle. There are some boos, not many. There are some boos around the City ground. There's some applause as well. It's a real mixed bag to greet another point for Forest. But frustratingly, another afternoon without a goal. Another afternoon where they've done a lot of good things, but another afternoon where they've been frustrated in front of goal. The point does lift them back outside the relegation zone. 0-0 draw at home to Fulham gives them the point they need to get themselves back above West Ham United and out of the bottom three.
Yep, that's where Forest are now, just outside of the Premier League relegation zone, sitting 17th, only thanks to goal difference, and only behind Tottenham on goal difference now. All those three teams on 29 points. Liverpool Spurs now underway, just a couple of minutes in at 0-0. Forest away at Spurs next Sunday. I've got to say, Steve Voice, that feels like a mile away, though. I think just because everything going on at Tottenham and not knowing who might be manager by then. They've got a European match. Forest have got a European match between them, and it's a potentially pivotal match that in Forest season, but it feels like an awful lot might happen between now and then.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously there's Denmark thrown into the equation. They've got obviously the second leg against Madrid, I think Madrid, where they're 5-2 down from, I mean, the keeper had an absolute shock the other night, to be fair. Felt sorry for him, actually. But yeah, I mean, looking at, we've got the screen on now, their team and their front three is pretty decent on paper. Tottenham is Matthijs Tel and Solanke and Richarlison, so that's not bad. A lot of injuries, like you say, and obviously a club like Tottenham to be anywhere near relegation zone. I mean, they were there last season, so it tells you something's definitely wrong at that football club. But yeah, it feels as though lots of travelling, lots of thoughts about teams for Thursday night from Forest's point of view, who they actually give minutes to, who they kind of like see how the game pans out. I mean, if they score early doors, and then they may keep the main players on longer. If obviously Midtjylland score again, then they may keep them off the pitch and thinking with Tottenham in mind. So as a manager this week, I think obviously you've got to manage the travel, the recovery, the subs, the injuries that come with that, the tiredness and all that, and try and pick two teams to get two positive results. Certainly obviously we have to win in Denmark, and maybe a point might be decent at Tottenham at the moment because they're still not away from us and now they're a lead, so we'll wait till that one pans out. But I did think early before this game started today that if Vitor Pereira didn't win any of the next 3 games, which will mean we'd probably be in the bottom 3 and out of Europe, that the owner would think about things. I still stand by that he's a proactive owner. I think he knows Pereira well and they get on well. I think if that question was asked and if they had a talk together about things, if we are out of Europe and in the bottom 3 with 7 games to go, I think there will be discussion. I'm not saying he would go, but I think they will be thinking about the best way forward and whether Pereira could get them out of trouble they're in. Having seen what's happened elsewhere at Leeds and then Tottenham in the meantime, and West Ham of course still involved, even though you fancy them to get out of it. A really huge 7 days, and I think the next 2 games will certainly define our season.
In terms of that Midtjylland game, then you touched on it there about what sort of team selection Vitor Pereira might go with. I mean, they've got such a big game against Spurs just a few days after. Does he go strong to try and stay in the Europa League, or does he leave those players out that he might rely on Sunday? Does he try to leave some of those out and rest them for that game?
We could go either way, I suppose. I mean, I think they'll probably go half and half. I think you have to give the players who came in or have been fringe players who are looking for a game, some game time. That I think they probably have to think about them, because certainly the Spurs game is the more important of the 2 games. So it's a balancing act about what he does now, because he's got to get it, where he's got to have his players generally as fit as he possibly can be and as fresh as possible. But if we score first in Denmark and it gets towards 70 minutes gone, it's 1-1, does he then bring the star players on who themselves can't score a goal at the moment, or struggle to score a goal? I don't know. It's as a manager, I don't feel sorry for him because he's got a great job, but it is a tough place to be at the moment in terms of picking your team and trying to keep people fresh and keep people happy, and asking players like McAtee today, who's hardly played recently, to come on the pitch and bail you out when he's clearly not fit. And I can't think he's very happy at the moment with the football club. As a manager at the moment, he's got a lot of things to think about, decisions to make, to try and keep people happy-ish and keep his players fresh and fit for 2 huge games.
Having seen the first game here against Midtjylland, how do Forest win that one away from home against a side who haven't lost at home in any competition all season? Tight little ground and with a 1-0 lead to protect from their point of view. What do Forest do? Did they just have to throw everything at it? What do you do?
I think obviously it depends who he's got available, who is fit and raring to go. I think he might go with, I say with the bigger lads, but physically some bigger lads against Midtjylland. But they can also play as well, to be fair. I'm not going to put them down like that. They're just a big team, because they've also got some decent players who can handle the football as well. So who knows? I'm not sure. I think physically you've got to defend set pieces against them, certainly. And the other night, to be fair to the players, I thought they did that pretty well. Obviously the one switch off from Aina, but apart from that, in general, corners and free kicks were dealt with well by the team, I thought. Which way they'll go, I don't know. I don't envy him at the moment. He's whatever he does, if he twists or sticks, he gets a bad result and he can't score a goal. So, I wish him all the best on Thursday. Obviously next Sunday as well at Tottenham, because he knows he's got 2 huge games to get 2 positive results for the football club.
Yeah, we'll obviously bring you commentary on both of those games on BBC Radio Nottingham from Denmark on Thursday night, or Thursday evening, 5:45 kick-off UK time. We'll be with you from 4 for all the build-up, and then commentary on BBC Radio Nottingham from 5:45, and a programme on Wednesday evening for you as well to preview all of that. We are going to hear from Vitor Pereira shortly on BBC Radio Nottingham. It's match day. It's 23 minutes to 5.
On BBC iPlayer.
The question has become more urgent. How do we sort fact from fiction?
How can we believe what we see?
The hit drama returns.
That is not the shooter I saw. Why am I the only one who saw the suspect?
You think this is correction?
Yes, sir. The news footage has been deep-faked.
Do you trust her judgment? I don't trust, period. The new series of The Coucher. Famously unreliable things, memories.
You can't hack a memory.
Stranger things have happened. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
Match day. BBC Radio Nottingham.
You'll hear from Vitor Pereira very shortly on BBC Radio Nottingham. In fact, you can hear from him now. Here's the Reds head coach after a goalless draw with Fulham. Here he is with Colin Fray.
Well, Vitor, you've got a point. I know you'd have wanted all three, but how do you view today's game?
Happy. I cannot. This is a game that when I look for what the players did on the pitch, what effort that they put on the game to win the game, the ambition to win the game, the spirit to win the game, the players from the bench with the same spirit to win the game. And the supporters, they try to help us until the last minute. In the end, was missing the goal. We scored a goal, but in the end I celebrate the goal, but in the end was not. But I believe with this spirit we can get points playing here, playing away. And this is what I want to see: my team character, personality, and team spirit.
There's only one thing missing, really, isn't there? I mean, lots of things are right with the game at the moment, and the way your team's playing. A clean sheet today, for instance, and rarely troubled at the back. Need to score goals.
Of course. Even I think we have the ball on the bar from Ola. We have two chances with Dandoy. We have two chances with Tayo. But sometimes is something is just for. But we try, and I believe that that will happen. We can make it. We can make it happen. We can make it. We can get. We can win games. Not only playing home. This is the spirit. Go away to get points again. This is our spirit.
When a team goes through a bit of a goal-scoring drought like Forest are at the moment, I mean, going back before your time here, Vitor, I think that's one goal here in the last 6 Premier League games. So clearly there's a bit of an issue there. How do you go about putting that right? How can you put that right? What do you have to do to make the goals flow?
The most important is moment that to keep the spirit and to because football, the balance, the emotional balance in football is, as something that very unstable. You understand? The first thing is they need to know, the players, they need to know that what they did was the correct things. They try everything, they put the effort there, they try everything to score a goal. In the end, okay, we must feel proud of ourselves because we worked a lot to get a different result, and rest a bit, keep the mentality to the next fight.
You mentioned the substitutes, and of course Dan and Doy twice thought he had a penalty and then a goal. Taiwo, as you said, went through it a couple of times as well. He mentioned those substitutes. Some may have been surprised to see you take Morgan Gibbs-White off when you were chasing a goal. What's the thinking there? Is he kind of tired after Thursday night? I'm not. I'm a manager that when I feel I'm looking the player inside, I know the abilities of the player. Morgan is a top player, and Elliot is a top player. Even Dominguez was playing in a good level. But in the end, I need to do what I'm saying on the match. Understand? I need to help my team. I need to think about the team, and in that moment, we need in the last minutes maybe
someone with 1 against 1, someone to Omar is this kind of player. McAtee with confidence. What I see, what if you see McAtee on the training, he's a fantastic player. He can do magical things. Is about the confidence, about to go there and to show, to be himself. And this is the kind of player that can, in the last minutes, can do something special. And we try everything.
You got out of the relegation zone today, having gone back in yesterday. It kind of felt a bit significant last night when you fell into it. But at least you've got out of it today, and I suppose that's something. But you've got a big week ahead now, haven't you? With Midtjylland away, then Tottenham away.
Midtjylland we'll try to do our best. For sure, we need to travel, and we need to. I cannot play with the same players, because if not, if we go to Tottenham destroyed, it's not in my mind. I need to change some players, to recover some players. But we'll try to get a result, because we have quality to win the game there. About Tottenham is very important. In this moment, of course, we need 3 points. We need a win, playing home with our supporters, and they deserve a win. The team deserves a win. But in the end, 1 point is 1 point. If we have the point against Liverpool, we got the point against Liverpool. Was 1 more point, and important in this moment, because in this moment of the season it's not easy to win games. It's not easy to win games, because a lot of teams fighting for something is not easy. Is important is to recover now, be ready for the next game, and be ready for the game in Tottenham. We have quality, we have character, we have spirit to go there to get points.
Thank you for your time today, Vitor.
Thank you.
See you in the week.
Thank you.
Vitor Pereira talking to Colin Fray on BBC Radio Nottingham. I think we've got our answer about how strong a team Vitor Pereira will go with at Midtjylland on Thursday. Sounds like there's going to be changes for that game with Spurs in mind on a Sunday, and you can understand why. It's such a big game next Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, if the fringe players come in, and play really well against Midtjylland and get a result, then he's got a problem for the weekend. But yeah, it's the right thing to do. If you obviously were behind in that game, say if we get the first goal, things might change. But I think he's right to pick that less than strong first 11 and see how he goes. Yeah, we might get strange results, and things happen sometimes in second legs. But I think he'll pick pick half a team, I think, for the first start of the game and see how he goes. But he's right. I mean, the thing about spirit in that, he mentioned it spirit about 8 times there. Well, I kind of get spirit is part of the game, but also finishing is part of the game as well, and that's the bit that really is more than spirit. You can have a terrible spirit in the camp sometimes, but if you've got somebody scoring a goal, it bails people out, makes people a lot happier. So, he said a lot there, but didn't say a lot as well.
Steve Hodge, thank you for being with us on Match Day from BBC Radio Nottingham. Colin Fray is back up here in the commentary position as well after speaking with Vitor Pereira. There was an awful lot of comments there, as Steve Hodge picked up on. A lot of talk about spirit, a lot of talk about confidence, and trying to keep spirits high for the players despite this run of now 7 Premier League games without a win and failing to score. You wonder how that is going to translate to goals, but there's not a lot more Vitor Pereira can do. He can't go out in the transfer market to sign anybody else, and he hasn't got any other players he can bring in and put in that position to try and get them. But at the moment, that's the problem.
It's a slightly different answer to go and work hard on the training ground. I suppose he's kind of that would be the standard answer, wouldn't it? And I guess that's kind of I suppose taken for granted, because you would expect them to be working hard on their finishing on the training pitch at the moment, given the lack of goals that they've got. But so if we accept that that's a given, then he's talking about the importance of keeping the players' spirits up, and I suppose not, from their point of view, not harping on about the fact that they've had blank after blank after blank here at the City Ground, particularly. It hasn't all been sunshine and roses away from home either, but they are, recently they have at least scored a few more goals away from home than they have here. So I kind of get what he's talking about in terms of, keeping the spirit of the players high, and keeping the belief high that if they keep doing things right, then goals will come. But you can't deny that they have missed a finisher all season long, and that's clearly hurting them at the moment. That's kind of like coming home to roost at this crucial stage of the season when they need goals more than anything else at the moment.
A goal has gone in at Anfield. It has gone in for Liverpool. Dominic Szoboszlai with a free kick over the wall into the top corner. Very good. 18 minutes gone. Liverpool 1, Spurs 0. This is good news from Forest's point of view. Obviously, they go to Spurs next week. I was saying to Steve Hodge earlier, Colin, that game's only a week away, but it feels like a lifetime away because Forest have got to go to Denmark. Spurs have got a Champions League game. All the talk that's going on about Spurs day to day, about Igor Tudor's future. It's very difficult at the moment to know what on earth is going to be the situation that we're talking about ahead of kick-off in that game, which could prove to be a pivotal match in Forest season.
Absolutely. I mean, are Spurs going to have a new manager? Both teams, of course, have got European games in midweek, and both trying to come from deficits to stay alive in their European competitions. I think, obviously with only a 1-goal deficit, you'd think Forest have got more chance of coming back than Spurs have in those respective competitions in midweek. Spurs, of course, have got a lot of players that are missing at the moment. I know that a couple are out with like concussion protocols, so should be back available for next week's game. So they're fielding a very strange-looking side today at Anfield. That's going to, I think, look different by next week. Who's going to be in the Spurs dugout is going to be a question mark by next week, because every day you're waking up to various bits of speculation about this guy's taken over, or this guy's taken over, or it's going to be this guy, or it's going to be this guy, or whoever it might be. Or I think there's surprise even that he's still in charge for the game at Anfield today. So maybe they keep him in charge and then have a think about it in the long break after that. So it does seem as if there's an awful lot to happen between now and going to Spurs, but I did think it was interesting that already Vitor Pereira, even in the immediate aftermath of this game today, is already thinking about the fact that he's not going to be able to play his first team in Denmark because he knows they'll be shattered for the game against Tottenham, which obviously is so crucial next weekend. So that immediately gives us an idea. And, to be fair, somebody like Dan Ndoye, for instance, with his second half performance today, has probably played his way into a start in Denmark.
Well, I was going to say, there might actually be an advantage to it in that game, Martin, that if you are playing players who haven't had a lot of football of late, they go into that fresh. They've got nothing to lose, in a sense. They know they're not probably going to be playing Sunday, so they can leave it all out there on the pitch. Those players then who get the rest can be at their best then for Sunday. Even in terms of that time, maybe we'll see. I mean, they're a very strong side, Midtjylland, but we'll see.
And you've got to be realistic. When various head coaches have tried that in the past this season, and they have made all of those changes, the players who've come in have not been up to the job. And even in the second leg against Fenerbahce, that was the first time that Vitor Pereira tried it, and he had to make 4 changes at half time. Now, I suspect that what he means by what he's just been saying there and the importance of the Spurs game, I suspect he will probably start with that, if you want to call it the kind of second string team. But I'm not sure if it's not going well at half time, you're going to see 4 of the regular first teamers come on as early as half time, like they did in that second leg against Fenerbahce. I think it's, the situation in the Premier League is, the scales are starting to tilt in favour, massively in favour, and they have to, of making sure that you're fit and ready to at least have, to give it your best shot in these crucial Premier League games. And if that means that the Europa League, it means you go out of the Europa League. I don't want to use the word sacrifice. You don't sacrifice your place in Europe. But if it means you go out of the Europa League in order to be stronger in your Premier League survival attempt, then I think, fans would accept that.
All right, Colin Fray with us on Match Day from BBC Radio Nottingham. 8 minutes to 5. Our Make a Difference programme on the way from 5. So Forest drawing here 0-0. Mixed fortunes for our EFL clubs yesterday. Notts County losing at home to Chesterfield in the early kick-off yesterday. 5 goals in it. They lost by 3-2. They played most of the match, though, with 10 men after this sending off.
Here come Chesterfield with Dobra edge of the penalty area. Norburn gets a foot in. Dobra's boots come off, but no foul given. And Norburn's then picked up Dobra's boot and thrown it off the pitch. You've got to be a little bit careful of things like that, having been booked, says Ollie Norburn. There's Nick Cerula, and Norburn's going to be off.
Ollie Norburn centre, oh my word.
The referee has seen the fact that he's chucked Dobra's boot off the pitch, and Norburn, inside the opening 20 minutes of this one, has been sent off for 2 yellow cards.
Adam Hassel commentating there. He had this to say a little bit later on BBC Radio Nottingham yesterday.
And me and Mark Stallard on the way out the ground, interestingly enough, ended up bumping into Les Brad, who was down in reception, and we all ended up bumping into the referee's assessor, who came out, and we all had a bit of a conversation about that red card, which has certainly changed the game. It's had a massive impact. The referee's assessor was very adamant that the yellow card for Dorburn, the second one, was correct, and I can certainly agree with the arguments for that. I think Ollie Norburn has given the referee a decision to make and given him the chance to send him off. He needs to be cleverer for me in that position. He's got Dobra's boot, which has come off in a tackle, which wasn't a foul, and Norburn's picked it up and threw it 20 yards off the pitch. He's given the referee a chance to make that decision. The referee's got every right to have done what he did. Apparently it comes under IFAB law or Rule 12, unsporting behaviour, the sort of clauses which mention things like that can be yellow cards. Mark Stallard made a really good point to the assessor and said, if I was playing in that game, I probably would have just kicked it away a little bit. Would that have been a yellow card? And the assessor said no, it wouldn't. So I think for me, Norburn's very experienced. He's on a yellow card. He's got to use that experience. He's got to be a bit cuter. He's got to be a bit cleverer in that situation.
Have you ever heard of a player being sent off for throwing an opponent's boot off the pitch? At first, it just sounds like a bit of almost Sunday League banter, doesn't it, at first? But there we go. Second yellow card, and Ollie Norburn sent off. Notts going on to lose that game by 3-2. A point for Mansfield. You remember on Boxing Day against Barnsley, they went 2-0 down early, came back and won 3-2, a run which got them on a great run. So if you looked at the scores yesterday and saw that Mansfield were 2-0 down to Barnsley, you knew the game wasn't over. Sure enough, they got back into it with a penalty, just like they did on Boxing Day, by the way. And then they got a point from this one, a late goal from Stephen McLaughlin.
3.5 minutes of time added on already elapsed. Hewitt from the left-hand side. In comes the throw. Up goes a couple of defenders. Out goes shot in! And Stags have scored! Mansfield Town, through Stephen McLaughlin, have snatched a point. So dramatic at the One Call Stadium. McLaughlin, who did the same to make it 2-2 at Oakwell, has done it mid-March to grab a precious equaliser for Mansfield Town. It's Stags 2, Barnsley 2.
Stephen, many congratulations on the goal. Was it a right foot swinger?
It was, yeah. Came off the shin and onto the foot, I think, but they all count. It was good to get it, good to score again, and get the point.
They must hate the side of you, because you obviously got a very brave headed goal at Oakwell.
Yeah, that's right. That was my last goal. It was against them. Good to pick up another one today, but most importantly, to stay unbeaten as well is very good.
Obviously, referring back to that game, 2 down as you were today, that would have given you the impetus and the belief that you could get back at these today, and that's what you did.
Yeah, every game's the same. It doesn't matter if we're 2-0 down or not. We still have the belief that we can create chances, score goals, and that's what we did up there, and that's what we did here today. And I think if we had more time, I think we'd get another one as well.
Not a great start to the game. A lovely strike though from your former Republic of Ireland teammate.
Yeah, it was grand. But obviously, we stuck in there, and then we tried not to concede in the second half, but we did. We're just a wee bit leggy, I think, sometimes in the game, but once we got that goal, the penalty, I thought Nathan was brilliant when he came on, give us a lot of energy, and obviously won the penalty, and Lucas stuck it away. And after that, I think, just give us a lift, give the crowd a lift, and you could sense that there was going to be another chance for us, and thankfully we got that and we put it away.
Yeah, it just seemed like it wasn't going to come. And over on that far side, the left-hand side, you'd taken so many throw-ins, and I think ultimately the goal came. You left it, and Elliot took a long throw into the box.
Yeah, it was just, normally you just keep your shape, and I would do it, but as so late in the game, Elliot's got a longer throw than I have, so we chanced him going across, and thankfully it dropped. Yeah,
you like it.
Steve McLaughlin talking to Dave Bracegirdle on BBC Radio Nottingham yesterday. Mansfield back in action in League One on Tuesday night away at Bradford. Notts County away at Accrington Stanley. Part of a very busy week of sport ahead on BBC Radio Nottingham. That's In the Game tomorrow evening, 6 till 7. You look back over the weekend sport. Then match night on Tuesday with Notts County and Mansfield both playing. And then we've got European football for you later in the week, which I'll give you the details of in just a second. They'll go into that game on the back of a goalless draw here with Fulham in the Premier League that lifts them out of the relegation zone. They did have their chances in the second half to take all 3 points, though.
And Doy down the left, and it's he who's been sent forward here, down the left-hand side, into the penalty area he goes. Bassey comes across, leans on him, penalty, but he'll be offside. It won't count. It's not going to be a penalty because Dan and Doy was offside in the first place. Nico Williams, left-hand side, gives it to Murillo once again, tries to play one straight through the middle. Ola Aina is well forward, and hits one, rattles the crossbar. And this is over the top to Dan and Doy, who's clean. Yes! And scores! Nico Williams, ball over the top down the inside left channel, and Ndoye ran through and slotted it home in front of the Trent end.
Just be careful at the moment.
That's very tight. That is very tight. VAR are looking at it. I think this might be just offside again. It is offside.
So, European football for you next week, the second leg of their last 16 tie against Midtjylland. Join us on Wednesday evening between 6 and 7 to look ahead to that game, and then Thursday afternoon from 4, building up to commentary from 5:45 on BBC Radio Nottingham. In the meantime, you can find plenty more Forest content on BBC Sounds. Just search for Nottingham Forest on there. Of course, then we've got 2 match days for you next weekend as well, on a Saturday, and then the huge Premier League tie for Forest away at Spurs next Sunday. Your Sunday afternoon Make a Difference programme is up next for you on BBC Radio Nottingham.